Evergreen Valley just yesterday take down Colony in a 2-0 victory in R6 for HSEL Nationals. And now today, once again, Zayden, they're on the chopping block for the upper finals side, having still their chance to continue all the way flawlessly into the finals like they did for spring in the first place. Can they repeat the success against a team just as accoladed, even higher so, technically speaking, the national seeded #1 team of Putnam City, who had a pretty darn clean fall major champion series, taking the victory against Vianney, the #3 side in the finals just last season? Can they try to do the same thing in nationals for HSEL for this year? I don't know. We're going to have to see if they can do it. They got to get through the toughest opponent yet, though. My name's Infernosis. I'm joined here by Binks. And today, we've got 2 more games of R6 ready and raring to go before the finals kick off tomorrow for our second game of tomorrow.
It's still going to be a really, really exciting one. Now, yesterday we had the matchup of both the Cougars, and I'm really looking forward to see if we're going to see the same sort of performance from Xylex here tonight. And I don't want to go and start praising him a little bit too early, but if we are actually able to see that the Cougars today are able to continue to allow Xylex to go and maneuver around the map uncontested, I think we can see a really, really interesting matchup. And I've gathered my thoughts, and hopefully I won't be left speechless again, but I'm looking forward to every single moment.
Yeah, this is a really impressive set of 2 teams. Obviously, we saw Evergreen Valley just yesterday, and we saw just how good they truly were against a team still as good as the Colony is. And the Cougars impressed us. Xylex impressed us. But we also had mentioned multiple times there was some pitfalls and some pros and cons to their strategies and the way that they build up their team. And a lot of their pros come off of Xylex and a lot of their cons come off of Xylex, because you let a player like that go crazy, you build up a strategy that allows that player to step up to the next level and to play out of their minds like they did on both maps, on Chalet and on Clubhouse. And you also have to realize when you would lose Xylex early, like we saw in a couple of those rounds, 2 very specifically, round 1 and I believe round 7 of that game 2 on Club, you see Colony take the victory in a pretty easy affair at that, because Xylex gets taken down to first. They get caught out on a run out. They get caught killed for the first blood of the round. And then your team struggles to have that go factor, I would say, to elevate their next level of aggression in towards sites, where they would have a very standard default push, but they wouldn't have that kill factor to be able to find out those players. And that surprise element that was a lot of what we saw come out from Evergreen Valley is just kind of that element of surprise to give you that 6th person there to help you out. If surprise can't help you, time should help you, but it typically falls to the defenders. And Xylex, really darn good at the attack, still good on defense, but you're expecting to see them sprint into sight so much more on the attacking side, where they have that little bit more oomph behind their step. But for the side of Putnam City, I mean, this is a program, this is a team that stepped in last season, take everything for fall, right? Fall major champions, taking down Vianney. They're the #1 seed for a reason, but they didn't have as much luck this season, right? For the spring major. They're now facing the spring major champion. So this is a champion v champion series in the upper finals at that. So alone, it's very impressive. And but there is still that second chance for one of the teams that loses here, or the team, I guess, that loses here for the upper finals, to drop back down, hope they can get back through the bracket for the lower side, and then play in for the finals, as the grand finals, and get revenge against this team that basically, you win this out, you're guaranteed into the finals.
Yeah, I think my key point for this entire match is going to see how these teams, rather than playing to each other, are going to play through each other. You want it to be a very flush motion. Something that we saw with Evergreen was their ability to go and switch up the roles that these players are playing on, from flex to frag to support, even to secondary hard support. We had a lot of different ranges in motion. And what I need to see is that we continue with that, so it's a harder ability to get a read on your opponent, and it shows the team's ability to go and flex different muscles. And if you show an all-around, well-rounded team, that is extremely admirable for a college program. And I want to see, can they continue to achieve on the same level with each player having their chance to step into the spotlight? Because that is the most important part, and it's understanding how to control those nerves, especially in an upper bracket final.
The maps we'll be seeing first, as you can see in the top right of your screen, will be Oregon, followed up by Cafe. And then if it is required, our third map of the day will be Clubhouse. It is the Cougar starting off on the attack first for Oregon. In Evergreen, we've seen just how good they can be on the attack. They dominated a 6-0 half, 6-0 half for the first game of Chalet just yesterday against another really darn good team of the Colony, giving them the same exact start for the attack on a map like Oregon. While not as attacker favored, it's still quite good. You'd expect this to be a 4-2 split in the worst case. And Evergreen really hate the Montaigne here, Zayden. They have now banned every single map we've seen them so far in Nationals. They refuse to let Montaigne get played, and it actually makes sense for a map like for a map like Oregon, where you would be very concerned about that shield and the ability to step in through pit, through tarp, and out from barrels down on the basement side, and putting him on the defense. That honestly kind of helps them instead of Evergreen, because Evergreen have to do it on the attack first, and they're going to have to, I guess, think a little bit more heavily about how they're going to get out from barrels if they decide to push there in these defensive rounds on arguably the easiest to defend objective in all of R6, that is that basement site.
That mute is a very curious ban to me. I don't know if that's an increased amount of prep work. That could be a wrench in Evergreen's plan, but they still have a full half before we have to see Evergreen defend without the mute. And I don't remember seeing mute as one of their selected operators at any point yesterday. So that's going to be a pretty interesting interaction. Jackal going to escape the ban phase, as well as Fenrir, Mira, two key operators, especially on this Oregon defensive side. So I based on these bans, I want to say that we are shifting towards a defensive-sided map, but it's only Dokkaebi and Montaigne. This is a pretty clear-cut, what feels borderline banless sort of game where they can shift the meta a little bit, but there's a lot of different heavy utility or heavy information game sort of mentality that we could take in this sort of matchup. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on the mute, though.
I can't consider it a target ban, but it is definitely probably a comfort ban right now for Putnam, right? To take the mute off the board. Maybe they want to play a fairly information-heavy attacking side. Like you mentioned, drone game is arguably the most important thing. The single most important piece of utility in the entire game of R6 is a drone, and every attacker comes equipped with 2 of them. That is a famous quote from Intero, not to steal it outright from his words, but Putnam probably want to rely a little heavy on those drones, and Evergreen did as well. We saw that on the map of Chalet. They were very heavy with their drone game, but they also were very easily removed, even without a Solus in play for Colony. They were very much so losing out on those drones, being a little bit too far forward with them, letting the defense take them down too quickly. So losing out the mute jammer, I don't really think it helps either side at the end of the day. Evergreen strategy isn't, or playstyle I should say, isn't too hindered by that ban. Maybe it's just a Putnam loss. I'm not too sure. Having that mute no longer on the board is going to be mostly difficult for this second floor take, where you typically would have that mute jammer placed as a hard wall denial tool for games room, as well as possibly off towards attic. The concern is going to be that Evergreen need to get into the objective first, and they need to try to clear out a lot of the hard bridge now that's still available, which would be the Kaid, which is heavily important for hatches down in basement, as well as still quite good for attic, as you can place that electric claw quite far back. But it hasn't slowed down Evergreen. Look, they've already breached out towards attic. They put an exothermic charge there, not even a Selma that you would typically expect for the attic side. They're losing every player. Xylix now officially off the board, following behind Low Dift, and that's only a minute half into the round, and Putnam are in a very solid lead in terms of player count.
They did a great job opening the round and not conceding too much ground towards the attackers, and Breeze will do a great job with their swing. Boxfish will get traded out, leaving it just towards a 4v1. Lux stuck inside of Master Bedroom Closet. Not too much to do here besides talk with your team and figure out what's going on, and Proximity Mine will give them away, and Lux will be snuffed by none other than Snuffed, and that's the first round going the way of Putnam City in a rather dominant fashion, as Evergreen got control of areas but not able to progress into anywhere that Putnam City showed a manifest intent to control.
It's a lot harder to sprint into an objective for the map of Oregon in comparison to something that's a little bit more hallway heavy, such as Clubhouse, or a lot more open, such as Chalet. The map architecture just doesn't create the same level of ability for your entry to step up so quickly. and it's going to be a problem for Xylix, and it's going to force Evergreen to default to a little bit more slower of a playstyle, a bit more of a methodical approach, which is more appropriate for the map. And I would assume that they will start to realize that those adjustments have to be made. They're heading into now the most, well, I mentioned before, arguably most defender-sided objective in all of R6. It is the basement side of Oregon. As classic as it is, defense still tends to dominate, and Putnam are bringing out a fairly solid operator selection here. They have the Warden, which means they'll have a player that can easily stack up behind a shield inside bunker. They have the Fenrir, which means the Dreadnought mines can be placed off towards Pillar, off towards Harry Potter, and another one off towards Tarp, where they can make those quick adjustments to make sure that utility is set in stone, prepped, and readied, I guess you would say, because Fenrir has to ready 3 out of 3 of his mines at any given time. He can also place them off towards Kitchen. A very solid agent selection, a very solid operator selection. That's going to put Evergreen in the spot once again where they don't have the ability to just sprint in. They can't just swing out aggressively. And they probably don't even have the real option of going off towards barrels, lacking a shield operator and not really having the burn utility to clear out the shield that's inside bunker. No Ash. They do not have a Zofia, which means no impact grenade, no actual breaching round. Without the Zofia lifeline utility, you don't have it. The best thing you can hope for is a Rotero drone from Exotic Boxfish, which are fairly easily cleared and denied by a mute jammer. Could be a reason why Putnam banned that, is they don't want to have to deal with that denial later. But it is still denied easily from behind the shield by watching it come up through the slits in the shield. And then otherwise, you can maybe hope a nade gets the job done, but that's why you have the Jaeger and the Wamai, Snuffed and Tuck, can both deny all of your throwable utility in strides to make sure that you will not be able to burn that shield, and it's going to force Evergreen off elsewhere. And you can already see them trying to clear out this second floor and get that roam game cleared as Xylix gets some good damage off towards Snuff, who's maybe a little bit too much heavy on the roam up on the first floor.
First stim going to be utilized by Xylix with 1:40 to go here in our second round of play. You also have the Jackal taken by low diff. That's going to be able to spot out Snuff, but Snuff is going to be able to capture 2, one of them being their own player, as Exotic Boxfish on the Flores will be relegated to the bench for the rest of the round. That's an interesting sort of pick. Not sure exactly how that happened, but Evergreen has the opportunity to pounce on this and continue with a 4-to-4 man advantage. Great job to go and take control of the freezer. Right now, all you want to do if you're the side of Evergreen is get into a position where you can apply pressure towards the site and force the players that put them to have to move. And it's going to be a slow, methodical push on each side, slowly pressuring them towards staying in just the site, but they still have a minute to do that, and Putnam's not giving up much, not peeking where they don't need to, and this might lead Evergreen to getting a little bit frustrated. The Wamai Magnet also capturing a grenade. This means that all of Evergreen's pushes have sort of gone awry as Low Dift moving into a very pivotal position.
30 seconds left in Evergreen. Even in the man count, it's because of Putnam getting the TK earlier. They don't have the space to step in safely. Now they're lacking even more utility to toss out to try to burn Putnam players' sightlines. Down goes Loda. Lux will make the slow rotation off towards barrels. Force still to clear the barricade, and the noise, the audio cue, tells Putnam everything they need. Flash through the box. They'll drop through E. Ton needs to get some kills from their teammates. Xylix and Lux to step up to the plate. Ton very wary of the possibility of a player rushing them down. Now only having Lux to keep them safe as Xylix been dusted off screen. Lux has the cover fire for one. Can't keep Ton safe, but they still get the plant. And now Blue. Low in terms of weaponry. A Mossberg in hand. The SMG, no sorry, the Baron. Has to be able to connect for this next shot. Blue, Mossberg out, and it takes down Lux. DB and Ode now finished. Putnam take the basement side in a much closer affair, but still come out on top to put Evergreen, your spring champs, now down 2-0 in the series already on the map of Oregon.
Very dominant first 2 rounds from Putnam. They did a great job of not conceding much territory, especially when it comes to Freezer and Laundry. I think, in my opinion, the round was won the moment that we saw Low Dift on the Jackal eliminated from the player play inside of Freezer. You needed a little bit more utility usage dedicated towards clearing a laneway inside of Freezer to give a lot more accessibility. The moment I saw that crossfire initiate, where we had the laundry machines as well as the rotate between supply and laundry, we had a lot of contention there. The jackal pushing in, player sitting inside a freezer. You need to make sure that all 4 of those angles are working in tandem. If you're the attackers, you need to be dedicating utility, whether it's a smoke grenade, a normal grenade, anything, to go and give each other that chance to move up. And as you slowly progress towards each other, you're playing for that trade. It's a high risk, high reward, but if you allocate the right amount of utility towards it, that's how you're able to shift and get into a very high contested objective, rather than having to go and stress the flash and drop. I can't take away from that. That was a absolutely huge clutch right there. And I definitely think it came off the back of just the ability to isolate the 1v1. Close one. Evergreen still very much in this matchup, but a very hard scoreline to go down 2-0.
Nothing I love more than taking notes and looking back up and seeing they did not, in fact, take meeting place. And they went instead for dining. No matter what, it's going to be kitchen. That is your 3rd and 4th objective, but love seeing dining. My 2 favorite objectives in all of our 6 are kitchen and dining on Oregon, and then my absolute favorite, kitchen and dining. Why am I blanking in the map name?
Villa.
Villa, that's it. Thank you very much. It's not.
We have the same favorite objective. I love it. I want to get a Villa map because, man, oh man, that objective is perfect.
It's not in the pool. It's not in the pool.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
rest in peace. Took it out of the pool. It's been in the pool for a little bit too long, though, to be fair. Same thing with Oregon, though. Come on. Bring it out back. Give me something new. Either way.
That'd be great.
Picking kitchen and dining is a pretty risky move for a lot of defending teams. It's not the go-to objective for a reason, though I do love the objective. It is a little bit too difficult to defend, and it gives you too quick of an access off from small tower from above, as well as just that small tower lower on first floor. And so much of your defense is entirely reliant on the showers player, which we can see the solace of Tuck currently for Putnam sitting within. But it looks like Evergreen now with full control over the 2nd floor for the most part. Another player is off towards attic, but they're not aware of that at the moment. We'll have a quick entry and access in down white stairs and off towards security and kitchen, as long as they can maintain that safety and start to get those hard breaches they do have available in the Habana pellets to be able to clear out that wall towards security and in through kitchen. They have that safety from above. They can entirely ensure nobody is lying within kitchen thanks to the, well, ram drone that's cleared out every floorboard imaginable, it seems like, and feels like, down inside kids' dorms. Make sure there is no sightline that will be safe or will be unsafe. What a shot from Snuff, but it's not good enough. The body shots aren't comparable to the head. An exotic box switch's LMG does not miss at that range, but apparently low diffs does. Down they go, and Rez's is the fragger. This is a round attempt for Evergreen. They dropped in. They wanted plants. Xylix refragging Rez's, who just took down Luxt. It's still the man advantage for Evergreen, but they're losing players swiftly. Time. There's still plenty, Evergreen. You didn't have to extend so swiftly, but they wanted the chance. They find the last in exotic. Dusts down Tuck, and finally Evergreen put themselves on the board.
That was a trading sort of round where an overextension from the Cougars could have almost spelled disaster for them. Evergreen did a great job of getting towards the site, but the problem is you can't just take the site, especially when it's kitchen dining. You need to make sure that you clear all of those surrounding buffer rooms. If not, they have the angles, they have the extra ability to go and peer in. And great thing about showers or security, you have to worry a lot less about that verticality, and it gives you that freedom to use those long lines of sight. Something you really have to be careful of. Evergreen did a great job of maintaining that presence up above. There's been so many instances where I see teams go and fully commit to dropping, and they forget you need to keep a player upstairs, and it completely puts them out of position. Especially when players start to die, they think they need to go and fill the void. So great job on exotic boxes to keep that calm, level-headed mindset to go in a hole down above. And it made the difference in that round, giving them their first round on the board. I'm looking forward to see how they can attempt this 2nd floor bedroom bomb site, as last time Putnam did not give them any ground on what felt like a borderline flawless defense.
Evergreen just, they take so much time that's still available in the bank in that round, and they just completely throw it out the window. I was very shocked to see them do that, which is not something I would expect for myself to say. But when round 1 and 2 came down to a very much so slower play style and a whole lot more of a methodical approach in regards to stepping in slowly, taking space, trying to take advantageous gunfights.
Wow.
It's very impressive to see Evergreen step back into that attacking strategy going swiftly and it panning out for them. But it could be a bit of a misnomer, and it could be something they regret. And it could be something that is an impossibility anyways in this round. You go for a bit of a cheeky spawn camp. You wait for them to step up on top of the white truck, and you strike quite quickly. That's Xylix, aka Evergreen, in the basis of their attacking strategy for so many of these quick and swift attacking rounds now already off the board. And Evergreen will have to question, how can they get open that closet wall now? They are lacking in the Selmas. They are lacking in Ace. And the only thing they have is these thermite charges that they've just put off towards Attic. And they'll need to either rotate Exotic off in the other direction or entirely change up the strategy and go an Attic and big window approach to try to put Putnam's Defus on the back burner.
Snuff will grab a second kill onto low diff. There goes your buck, and that was a pivotal point in securing any sort of verticality. Snuff doing a great job, still has 3 toxic babes available. So I'm looking forward to seeing how exactly Evergreen can go and contest this. They have 2 players playing for Big Tower this time. This is a little bit different. Lux will narrow the man count down to a 1 differential with Snuffed off the board. Now it's all about contending towards trophy. They'll have to make it happen sooner rather than later with a minute. They have time to drone. It looks like that's exactly what they're going to go for. I'm a little bit curious as to the stall in play. You have to be wary of the flank, as Reese is able to take out Exotic. All of the Tone and Lux as they go and contend towards site. Pug to get one, Blue the other. And it's another cleanup from Putnam City, as Evergreen showing a lot of difficulty on the second floor bomb site.
To be fair, they were lacking an entire arm of their push. They had no ability to break down Master Closet, and that was the same thing we saw come out from Evergreen in round 1. They just failed to get it open despite having the ace off in that direction, despite having Xylix there. I'd highlighted that problem the same on Clubhouse just yesterday. It doesn't feel like Evergreen are going through every step in their preparation phase of the attack, right? Of making sure they're getting the utility out, creating multiple avenues, creating that phantom pressure that we highlighted yesterday. They really like this very one-dimensional, straightforward approach, and losing that one-dimensional player, losing that, entry can throw a huge wrench in things, and Putnam just outclass them on these tighter angles when they have the peeker's advantage. It's just a really good way to play defense against a team like Evergreen.
I think the other problem is routes. Taking different routes or routes, whatever you want to say, to get towards the objective. For Xylix, I'll be nitpicky here. The very first round, we saw the exact same route take go, rappel up, get some pressure on towards the window, hope they go and still contest it. Okay, now rotate back up to white truck, right up toward. It's a very common route. And yes, everyone goes and likes to jump on the truck, but you always need to make sure that if you're taking the same route, especially the second time you're going for a site, in competitive, you get into a lot of repetition. You practice a lot of repetition. You need to make sure you're aware of the variations that you are using and how exactly you can use those variations to trip up your opponent. In a game of repetition, you got to be very, very, I guess creative would be the right word in this scenario.
Let's take a note of an Evergreen strategy coming into this next round in the basement. They actually want to take barrels quite early, and like I mentioned previously, the best way to do this is typically with a Montane. It's a whole lot safer. But Blitz is Walmart branded Montane, right? It's you step up into it. It's a little bit cheaper, but it gets the job done nonetheless. It's just the shield doesn't cover everything. You may have to make some sacrifices here or there. Quick escape out from bunker, though, for Putnam. They no longer have the warden, which means they don't have the player to stack up entirely inside bunker. That could be something that Evergreen noted in the prep phase with their drone work, and since then have started to work in quickly. Low diff, getting in, taking a lot of damage off towards the kitchen side, doesn't have the cover, and there's just no teammates nearby. They stepped up too quickly into space that was unclaimable for the Evergreen side. They'll have to be very wary now at that player disadvantage. They need shots to connect off towards Rez from Kitchen, and Rez just will not fall, but the diffuser will. Evergreen have gotten the plant down, and now the covering fire from the 3 remaining will need to be perfect. Ton able to dice up Rez, getting the rain frag on the already low HP player, and still having to think a boost to assist in this play. Off goes Lux, playing off towards Pillar, snuffed with the P90, too much to contend with, and Ton joining them in the afterlife, leaving just Exotic Boxfish. Nocha starting to defuse, and down they go. Tuck with the Vector swinging back from Tarp. Evergreen just can't catch a break on the attacking side of Oregon. It's a Putnam City show house, and they're already up majorly in this first half on the defense.
4-1, Evergreen needs to fight hard to go in and capture a 4-2 split. Otherwise, I do say that in this sort of scenario, it could go the other way, and we could see that it's pretty close to you could come back from a 5-1 sort of split. But I'm relatively scared for Evergreen, where I'm confident in their abilities on defense, but they need to make sure that they are going in contending with Putnam City ability to rotate and play 2 angles at the exact same time. We saw it at the very end of that last round, especially when contending with players. We saw the moment that Evergreen tried to go in and contest a certain area, they're contesting 2 different angles. I think that the very first time we saw that, they spread themselves a little bit too thin with the avenues they were approaching from. And I think last round when they were attacking downstairs, they put too many eggs into one basket. The moment we saw all that pressure towards Barrel, I'd like to see them go capture that control, leave 2 players maximum holding barrels, won the blitz, taking a very passive angle, just making sure his presence is in zone and making Putnam feel a little bit more uncomfortable while we get someone rotating over to Freezer. And they don't need to push immediately. They just need to stay there and know when to go and put that extra added bit of pressure. Maybe deploy a little bit of extra added utility. It's those little tiny things, those tiny bit of interactions you can have with your opponent that can shift the entirety of an round. And as someone with probably some of the worst gun skill you'll see in this game, it's all about how you position yourself in a way that allows your opponent to have a very big disadvantage the moment they try to push you or the moment they know where you are.
Evergreen now forced to play into the tertiary objective on the attack, and thankfully for Putnam, they make the wiser decision. Kitchen and Dining didn't work for them last time, no matter how sad that makes me feel. They'll head off to meeting place instead, and this will put Evergreen in a spot where they're forced to head up once again to the second floor. They were so effective at clearing it last time. You'd maybe expect Putnam to put a little bit more active defense up on the second floor earlier and spot them a little bit of time. But these ram drones, they are ruthless. They take no prisoners, and they will clear every floorboard from here to Wisconsin, it feels like, and make those sightlines impossible to sit within once again for Kitchen. And that could give Evergreen the idea once again that they want to take this B site and completely ignore meeting. And should they choose to do so, that means they do not have to worry about attic, but that upper floor can be used against them, which means when they extend to this first floor, if they push to Kitchen here, Zayden, they still have to leave a player up on second, which means it'll be an effective player disadvantage down on site, and they need to ensure they get a first blood prior to that. And Ton has done just that. Down goes Rez as the Fenrir, the top frag tied with Snuffed for Putnam, now removed. And Evergreen back into that player advantage. They can start to extend it down below to this first floor as they start to break even more floorboards and try to clear out space. They've got damage to Stuff, they've got damage to Tucked. That's really all they have, and they only have 60 seconds left to start to make a decision. And this is a very squared up Putnam side. 3 players, 2 inside green, 1 just outside of Z, outside of T, I guess I should say. Your split side of meeting room. And the other down below in basement, trying to hold security defense from Freezer. Shots connecting from both. Tuck and Exotic will actually trade. Xylix still alive and thriving. Down goes Snuffed, and it's a 2 versus 4. And Ton has the angle to hold off 1, but fails. Nacho still withstanding. Blue able to secure a frag to Lux, and a second to Ton. The step up has been clean. The Freezer player's gone unseen. And with 28 seconds left, Putnam still have a chance. Xylix, though, standing again, taking down Blue. Nacho, a 1v2 will need to triple their kill count to come up clutch in this round, but time is quickly running out. Player on the second floor, and Low Dift has control. The Buck cuts down Nacho.
Stressful situation, Scott. Especially for Evergreen when you feel the round slowly starting to slip away out of your grasp once again. It's a scary situation to be in, and it all comes down to how you can recover as a team and how you can communicate to make sure that you use that plan effectively. It comes down to being in multiple of those types of situations before and having the confidence. Where it just comes down to clear the comms, keep it quiet, keep the relevant information in. Great on Evergreen to go and grab that round back, and they go towards the split at a 4-2, and that's very salvageable for this entire match. This is not their map pick. And I don't want to say it's showing, but it's showing that Putnam has put in the work on their defensive end, and we're going to have to see how they do on this attack. Because this is going to tell the entire sort of mentality for the rest of this map. And I need to see from Evergreen, they step up here on this defensive end. They understand exactly the way that Putnam wants to go and attack it, and they slow them down or speed them up, whichever one fits Evergreen's needs. And I know it's very easy to say all these, but it's about how you're going to go and make your setup. It's about how you're going to go and plan to slow your opponent down in certain areas. Resource allocation is key. And what I love from Putnam is almost all of them switching operators the moment they see a site. That tells me they have a plan, and they're clearly communicating. I'm going to expect that we see the Habana Thatcher going up above. Meanwhile, the Flores and Brava going and being allocated at Big Tower as well as barrels, if I am correct. I do typically expect to see the Flores inside of barrels, but I could be very well mistaken. It does seem to be very well connected at this point.
Evergreen failing at first half. You could say failing. They still get 2 rounds off of them, which is plenty fine for the map of Oregon when it's arguably defender favorited because the second and basement side are so darn difficult. Flores drone, like you mentioned, the Rotero drone, soon to come out in through barrels. And Evergreen getting 2 is very impressive. I mean, this is the team, the program, I guess I should say, for Putnam that took home the award of being the Esport Program of the Year in 2023. And being able to elevate your team to that level, elevate your program to that level is very impressive. But if you're looking to elevate your school's esports training in the first place, check out the Valor training platform. It offers a premier experience tailored for players at all levels. Valor's platform ensures effective skill development and progress tracking with structured roadmaps, categorized learning, and interactive quizzes. Generation Esports schools who join Valor before June 30th receive the summer holiday period free, giving students the perfect opportunity to train and level up during the break. Power your esports athletes with Valor's superior training and educational support. Don't miss out. Book a call with the HSEL or MSEL rep today to learn more and maybe learn how to get that first blood, which Evergreen have been pretty darn clean about, and the defense is no different. Down goes Snuffed in a minute and a half remaining, and Evergreen will have that player advantage and still have pretty darn good control over towards Bunker, and Exotic is not taking any victims elsewhere either. It's blue. This Bunker control is pristine right now for Evergreen.
They've read into Putnam's attack quite well. With a minute to go, you can't allocate your resources to other places. They have no realistic way to deal with this Mira, a low diff. Your only real option here is to rotate around to deal with the Mira in another fashion, use a grenade, which you don't really have, but low diff is just in a power position. Xylix roaming around up above. This is a round that Evergreen has to make a conscious decision to lose, which I don't really see that happening. We have a player going and Rees inside a freezer. Meanwhile, Tuck is rotating around towards Big Tower. 30 seconds to go. They're going to have to find a hole in this site that does not necessarily exist. As Xylix gets a double kill on the round. Rees not expecting that one. Tuck being lit up, and that's going to be a flawless round for Evergreen as they jump towards the defensive end, and that's exactly what you want if you're cheering for Evergreen.
Bunker control. Putnam City tried so hard to try to clear it out, and when it failed, they tried to diversify their approach, which you should be setting up already at the beginning. But the issue with Bunker is if you fail it, Bunker tends to be the 80% of your 100% push and pursuit in towards site. The 20% are your soft arms elsewhere. Maybe it's a player top of your stage that wants to clear out pillar and try to make sure there's nobody towards Harry Potter. Or maybe it's a freezer player that if they can get control of freezer and get towards freezer door, they can have an angle off towards Harry Potter and off towards pillar and try to dominate that position in central hall to make sure that that bunker push works a little bit more effectively. But that all requires your bunker push to work. And Evergreen getting exotic boxfish and feeding them those kills it just puts a really bad taste in the mouth for Putnam. And it's going to make them question how they want to play that defense once again. I would maybe assume they entirely ignore that bunker side again. I think they'd put one player to rear stage, 2 off towards, or maybe 3 off towards freezer, and then 2 off towards laundry. That bunker just wasn't an effective parlay for them. They'll need to transition to a different style of attack. And they maybe just want to ignore the majority of that western side, or maybe southern side, I guess I should say, of that map, that southwest region. Evergreen, though, now forced to step away from the basement, will head up to the second floor as expected. And Putnam will bring out Blue on the bee's knees and hope that they can force out some information from Evergreen and force away some players, as I would expect Blue to pivot off more specifically towards Attic. But Xylix is off towards Small Tower, and Snuffed is off in No Man's Land, the Afterlife. They're now relegated to drone duty. And Snuffed is even very impressed with that, just saying, wow. And Xylix, maybe a little bit too hot and heavy too soon. Tuck will not lose that firefight.
They'll lose that one, though. Luck's gonna be able to grab a refrag as this one's off to an explosive start. Ton slowly trying to calm things down inside of Attic. Exotic looking out towards double window, but all the remaining players trying to go and calm things down. Something that I immediately noticed about the approach from Putnam is they only have Nacho remaining with any sort of hard breaching capabilities. They're gonna have to really get those steps in as they rotate towards Big Tower. I was gonna say keep an eye out on Tuck, as we do know that there was no sort of Jaeger or Wamai pucks in play this round for those Candelas, but not a single one will be able to be utilized. Blue's gonna have great opportunity with those bees to go and scan out any sort of area. Lots of Selma breaching charges being utilized onto the Big Tower wall as Ton is just biding their time, waiting to jump and pounce. They'll do it at the exact right time. Down goes Blue, back to hiding. Gonna try to swing out to get the goo mine down, but it's not gonna work as Natural goes for the quick refrag. Rees now also turning their way towards Attic with a minute 15 to go, 3v2 favoring Evergreen. They've done a great job stalling for time. Not much of it, as it's been a very fast-paced round. Evergreen, if they can slow the pace of Putnam and just control their movement, this should be a round that Evergreen could easily use to even out this scoreline.
Attackers have located a bomb.
60 seconds left in Evergreen. Despite still having the player advantage, knew that Rezes and Nacho were both off towards Attic. Now with the audio cue of the goo mine in Attic, straight out through door. And the damage that's done to the barricade through Kids Dorm's window, you know where the 2 remaining players for Putnam are. But 40 seconds means they can transition at any point and at any time. So it's never a 100% known factor, but Rezes only has 2 angles at which they can come from that have been breached open for the attacking side of Putnam. Big window. Shots connecting to the window frame guarantee they're off this direction, and Rezes does have flashes which could clear out the utility. It is the Surya gate that's there. But Nacho in a bad spot. Stuck with a Gumon in the ankle, and Fenrir Dreadnought Mind. They don't stand a chance, and Rezes doesn't get the time of day either. Exotic, what a flick to the head. Straight up kill city for Evergreen. In a much closer round than it was, though not flawless like they saw in this first round of the second half of round 7. It's about as clean as you can ask for the second floor. And round 9 puts now Evergreen and Putnam at an even footing. Can Putnam take the tertiary rounds like Evergreen did, or will Evergreen hold strong with the kitchen and dining defense?
I like kitchen dining. I'm not in the same boat as you, thinking it's one of my favorite sites. But I think it gives a lot of versatility and a lot of options. You need to be creative to win this site. Creative comes in a lot of different forms. It can be opening an obscure wall, holding a line of sight that you're not expecting, or it can be going absolutely crazy and going for frags that are unexpected. More like the Xylix effect that we saw at the start of last round. Swing, swing, swing. And it went swing until it got swung. Got cut down relatively early after that first initial pick. Xylix not able to go as crazy as we've previously seen them do, still leading the entire lobby for kills. However, that death count is still very much up there. What I need to see from a round like this is Xylix in that sort of crazy fragging position. Xylix and Tone, actually. Tone did a great job of just playing in a inconspicuous angle and knowing when to time their push, ensuring that you get a trade at least. If they can maintain that vertical pressure, I think it bodes very, very well for the players on the side of Evergreen. We'll see as the operator selection from the side of Putnam does see both the sledge and ram being selected with a high emphasis on the verticality, not to mention the buck. So it all comes down to how well they can hold this second floor and how much time, even more importantly, can they burn.
Oh. They may be in a pretty bad spot here. Evergreen are not prone here, Zayden, to falling away from the second floor. When they extend, they play what I would argue is a worse strategy. They don't play for denial of time. They play for totality of denial. And I highlighted that yesterday. It's typically you want to play for time, but Evergreen are good enough. They can play for totality against a lot of rosters. But Putnam has given their money's worth so far. And if they fall into that mindset, it could be very difficult for Putnam to push onto the second floor. But once they get it, and Evergreen will be in a very tough spot, lacking those players that they've left there. Putnam know there are defenders lying in wait, and it's a matter of trying to close them out. Player off towards big window. Rez is hoping to catch one in the crossfire. Xylex off towards bunk bed, but it's a really bad spot for you to be in. If you don't clear out at least one player, particularly Rezis, you're going to be stuck here and doomed to die. But you'll find a great shot off towards Trophy. Takedown snuffed. And now all you need is Lux to do 1/5 of that job off towards Attic with a advantage in numbers with your utility of those Dreadnought mines. This is a Putnam, a second floor push that is already struggling and may very well fail at this rate because Xylex has been refusing to move. There's not been very much contending with them as the flashes fail. The first and second go nowhere. No sight lines have been removed. And Putnam, this will be a dry push. They've got nothing behind it, and Evergreen will have that total second floor control with verticality clearly theirs.
This is huge for the players. As Blue will bite the dust. Low div capturing their second kill. Tuck to take out Tone on the second floor. Natural also find one. Tuck also cleaning up. We're now down to a 2v2 as the push completely shifted gears, making their way in towards site. Nacho going for the plant. Tuck also going for it. Nacho having to hop off of it as they consider too much pressure in the surrounding area. Xylex is there to capture their second. Refrag. Triple kill for Tuck. 5 seconds. No case. They're going to have to sprint and hold this one. And there's Xylex to capture the tertiary bomb site and give Evergreen the advantage. What a comeback this would be.
Evergreen Valley, they know their win condition. They know Putnam's win condition. It's the diffuser. And my goodness, once Xylex gets the frag of the player planting, it is over and done with. It will require a miracle to step back into it and secure anything from Tuck. Xylex position could be anywhere. Is it Link? Is it split? Is it the center of sight? Is it behind sandbags? It's behind upturned table. You check everywhere. You do all the dirty work, but time is also working against you. Father Time makes it a 6v5, and Evergreen had already created so much of a man advantage, it just burned Putnam's time. They can claw it back. They can go from a 5v2 back into a 2v2, but that means nothing when it takes you 20 to 30 seconds to get those frags safely, and you're already running out of time with an entirely failed second floor take. Xylex with the rotate down from second floor, from Central Hall, in through T, in through Zoo, in a defense that's near insurmountable. They'll head back to the basement where they flawless them in round 7, and Putnam's attacking side is in a drought of success. Not where you want to sit. Not how you want to play it. It doesn't seem like Putnam are changing the strategy too much, though, here. I'm not looking forward to this round if Putnam still try to put too much pressure off into bunker. It's failed previously, and there's not even a shield in play for Evergreen. Did Exotic, like, not switch to the right utility? They've got a Nitro Cell instead of a shield. But they won't respond peaks. It doesn't matter. You have lost the Thatcher. You have no ability to clear these hatches. You don't even have a pocket EMP, Putnam. Every hatch that Evergreen have ever wanted to deny with an Electro Claw is cleanly cut theirs. Off of a single frag from Xylex.
Still at large, too. Xilex could be creeping around any corner. In these last couple of rounds, they've gotten their kill count all the way up to 12, just dominating on this defensive end. I was hoping, and you even made this point, that you need to see a very different approach to this defensive end because it's catered towards controlling down inside of this basement. And that's exactly what you're going to hope to see, Tuck being one of the lonesome attackers dealing with barrels. But that's a very, very daunting task that you cannot necessarily take. And Puck is going to be capturing a little bit more. You got the Selma breaching charge here to deal with the Mira. It looks like that might be the actual scenarios. I hear the breaching charge trying to reposition low diff, and that is going to be the circumstance. Moving right towards, going to try to capture and push the Wamai out of elbow.
No one's pushing
the
with
thing
it.
Is, they could realistically go and reallocate an Electro Claw, close off elbow, and they cannot get in. They will have to go a different way. That entire route of the map would be shut down. However, that's information that Evergreen will most likely not have, and when you don't have that information, it's very hard to go and throw your eggs all into that basket.
Reses will eventually take down Exotic Boxfish. That does even the player count, but like you said, the difficulties towards Bunker still don't do enough for you. And I had mentioned you need a player to rear stage to clear pillar control, but you also got to watch your flank. And it's a huge showcase match for Xilex. Who else but Xilex? 14 kills. And the tally can even go higher. Tuck working from blue. Can't get much further out the door. Harry Potter will be where they stay. And Nacho, now the only player left standing, rushed upon by everyone. Can't even finish Xilex. Low diff saves their teammate's life and puts Evergreen Valley ahead by 2. And at match point for map 1 in Oregon, despite Putnam City putting in the work in the first half, it's gone nowhere. In the second, they're back up to the second floor. One they could barely fight off, Evergreen. In their last attacking attempt here, it's been flawless a defense for Evergreen.
They're caught in a rut. For Putnam, you need to, I cannot stress it enough, on this attacking end, you need to try something different. You need to understand the way your opponent's playing. In some circumstances, it's about finding the right route, taking it, and forcing the defenders back to site, forcing them out of position on their roam, or forcing them to have to go and swing things that they are not properly equipped to. For example, we had the Mirror inside a barrel. You had a lot of players allocated towards that side of the map. You need to go and allocate your resources somewhere else. Something I cannot stress enough about that basement site is how you will have to have a multi-pronged approach, whether that's above with the Thatcher, and don't put all your eggs in one basket with just Thatcher. He is not the end all be all, and if he is, he better sit in spawn for that first minute, making sure that he's safe. Because that was such a crucial round-altering spawn peak from Xilex. That just shifted everything into disarray.
5 seconds to insertion.
Man, oh man.
Tempo has changed, Zayden. The tone has changed. The mood has shifted. Put on one of those like classy mood rings, and it's gone from green to red.
I always wondered how
Putnam are not the same team we saw earlier. Evergreen have turned this into their match. And now it's theirs to lose. And Xilex getting removed first could be a great chance for Putnam to clap back into it. But Xylex's extension and their utility, it's done. That was their whole point. Place the Vulcan canisters, and that's jobs are good. You can walk away, you can extend, you can roam, and your presence lacking is just going to be a player down and something that Evergreen will be sorely missing, but it's not going to be the worst case scenario for you. Low Dift is also on that roam, clearing out drones off towards kitchen. Very wary of the possibility of a player coming from small tower. I'm honestly shocked to see Xilex didn't go for a swing out of spawn in that direction once again. They're trying to be cheeky. They're trying to be unknown. They're trying to change up every round. And this round, it's not worked. It's a Putnam slaughter. Snuffed, taking down Ton, having just found Low Dift as well. It's a 5v2. And now it's Putnam's round to lose instead. And that puts them one round away from Evergreen and leaching into possible OT territory here on the map of Oregon.
Good amount of utility remaining. Still Luxed and Exotic. And a good opportunity. Need Lux to really step up here. Playing angle as not expected. Get that frag. They'll least need to do more than their man count. First kill for exotic boxfish. Down goes Tuck. Lux has the audio cue from the Wub Wub. Giving them a lot of information. Exotic team use the
Located a bomb.
Goyo Vulcan. With a minute to go here, they're going to need to capture at least one more. Swinging out, trying to find the Ash. Able to find it. Looking for the second one behind the bed. Not able to confirm the final kill. Is going to go find it. That's a double kill for Exotic. And enter 3v2. Lux going for the swing. Not able to find it as they already left to a critical amount of HP. Exotic's going to have to find the ace here, but it's not going to happen as Blue shuts them down and forces us to our final round of regulation.
One more chance for Putnam City to force OT on the first map of Oregon. And if they can do it, Evergreen's flawless defensive half will have fallen apart right at the finish line. In Valorant, we call 10 the double digits, make it or break it territory, the checkpoint or chokehold. It looks like Evergreen at 6 could be their same level. Checkpoint or chokehold, what will it be? It's kept them back for only 1, but if it becomes 2, it's an OT scenario. And their failure to take a single of the mainstay objectives in the first half could be something that haunts
Need to
them.
locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
But we know how good they are in Clubhouse. It's a close affair with Colony for sure. But still a pristine second half for them when they transition to defense. And that's where Evergreen looks to be thriving on. Despite being an attacker team on Chalet, every other map, defensively, Evergreen know what they have to do. They know what must be done. And they're clean enough to secure it for themselves. But reattempting the same objective twice with not too much changing in it. They'll have to play a whole lot smarter with that extension. Low Dift is no longer on that Solus. You can say there's an adjustment there, and there is a Kaid in play from Tun instead of a Malusi. So there's some micro adjustments for utility.
Attackers
But it's
must locate and
positions
defuse
that were the
bomb.
undoing of Evergreen, to be totally fair. And if they lose Xylix on an extension towards main once again, Putnam, well, it'll be hard pressed to keep them out of sight. But Low
What I wanna
Diff and
see from
Xylix, they're extending kind of together here. Why are they so far out together?
What I want to see from Xylix is escaping that initial drone. If they don't think he's in that surrounding area, that spontaneity that we have come to expect and love from Xylix, that's when it can become once again extremely lethal. But it looks like there's not going to be that much pressure coming from the side of Small Tower. That's an interesting alteration to the push of Putnam, and I like that alteration because it's going to go and force a lot of these players to rotate around, and when you rotate, you make a lot of noise. So it'll be interesting to see how exactly they plan to contend with this. With 2 minutes to go, it's a little bit slower from Putnam, and Xylix going for a crazy peek. I was not expecting that
So
one, especially
close.
that re-peek was really, really scary. I was, what felt like could have been a make or break, and you're going to be forcing yourself into an unadvantageous position as Blue shuts down the top frag in the lobby.
Xylix knows how to aim, they know where to shoot, but sometimes it doesn't feel like they know where they are in regards to the architecture of the map. A broken and already breached window that your team has already utilized. You're not aware that it's directly next to you. It's just a big mistake for Xylix. And Tun being taken down from the floorboards below from underneath Playroom now puts, or Daycare, I guess I should say, now puts Putnam at a 2-player advantage. While the defense has the advantage of being able to sit back and lie within their objective. We saw how that panned out for Evergreen in the round prior. And Putnam, they know what must be done. Clear out every extension, clear out every player, and they have. And it's just a matter of getting these walls removed, and making sure they have double angles to contend from. Top of white stairs, player down prone, Lux goes for a swing. Can't go too much further. They'll have to fall back once again. Nacho into sight. Now planting in game. Does the team know? Is there any idea for Evergreen? They don't. Lux evens up the odds, but it's still a plant for Putnam. Still strapped within though. Tuck will rotate, working from attic window. No ability to repel from the bedroom side. Nacho trying to get a shot off towards your Rooney, but it will not matter. It's a Claymore kill. And a refrag for your teammate. Snuffed closing the round out, and Putnam guarantee OT against Evergreen on Oregon.
Wow. Putnam putting in the work. Forcing overtime.
At some point, we gotta stop saying that. You know, it's so easy. It's low hanging fruit. I'm gonna do it 20 more times.
Yeah, me too. Wow. They have defense on this overtime round as well, which is clearly shown to be the favored side of the interaction. Putnam clearly having the advantage, as both teams are able to force a 4-2 split. What an ability to maneuver around the site and to force Evergreen out of position. All starting with that opening frag, and it was that extra immediate need to get the refrag in some positions from Evergreen, which forced them out of position. That was something that we saw them not have to contend with or deal with in their previous matchup nearly as much, especially not in the first map. With Evergreen being tested this much, they have had a full 6 rounds last time they were on this attacking end for them to reconsider. And I find, at least after going on one end and switching back for an overtime sort of scenario, I find myself thinking in a lot clearer of a mindset, understanding what worked and what didn't work, especially coming from the other side. So from the defense to the offensive mindset, expecting what angles I need to look out for. With that being said, things are being switched up, and I need to see that Evergreen goes and make those adequate switches. Otherwise, we're going to get caught into yet another disadvantageous scenario for Evergreen, where they overextend and don't apply nearly enough pressure to the right parts of this base and objective. And I'll once again say it, you need at least a 2-pronged approach.
Evergreen were really clean last time they came into the objective. They got the plant down, but the blitz play left me wanting more. And it's not just because I'm a blitz main at heart.
Attackers have located a bomb.
I love my toxic ops of blitz and Caviera. But it's because you left your blitz in no man's land. You left them with nowhere to run to. Trapped in a site they have no right to stay within with no covering fire. You're having more things to worry about. Low diff tries to step up towards rear stage, has a little bit of assistance, but it's too little too late. They'll go down. No refrag in sight either for Evergreen. And Putnam will have that player advantage for the time being. We know they have the defensive know-how. The question's going to be, do they have the technology? Do they have the utility behind it as well? They've got so much in the pocket. A yokai drone even from Blue. Whether you use it just for information or as a way to stop the diffuser safely, it's going to be a big question for whether or not Evergreen will know it's in play, and if they fall into the so dangerous final 15 seconds where a single use of the yokai while planting could be the actual end of your push and end of the round. In such a dangerous scenario like this, as having been an OT and needing a defensive round win, or an attacking round win, I should say, against the defensive excellence that is Putnam on these mainstay 2 objectives.
They have managed to open up this top hatch, but they haven't cleared barrels, as there's still 2 players waiting inside an elbow and tarps respectively. They can catch them on the rotate. That could be huge. Not looking like that's going to be the scenario. Final minute here in our 13th round. And it's a bit slower from Evergreen. They haven't found a way to go and initiate pressure onto site. They know that they don't have to contend with the roam nearly as much. Xylex even trying to make their way down from freezer. Boxfish will end what felt like a stalemate as Tuck will fall. Yokai drone being used to great effect as Boxfish is forced to rotate back, tossing out a smoke towards tarps, and this will give them the ability to rotate in towards Pillar. Nacho taking out Tone. Fear Toxin doing a great job. Snuff to take out Lux, trying to rotate into Tarp, trying to find the mirrors. Down goes Snuff. There's the top frag of Putnam. Now down to a 3v2 with 15 seconds. You're going to have to get this plant rather quick or aim for those frags, but the Yokai drone is still at large. Xylex able to find one. Down goes Nacho. The Yokai drone is still here. 3 seconds to go. Spraying out from Pillar. Looking for the kill. They'll be able to find it down. 1v2. Yokai drone can come up huge if they have the kill. If they have the frag available. It's Blue to swing around the corner to put Putnam on match point.
Blue has the execution, the wherewithal. The planter has to stick it down. They have to keep the diffuser going. Time is out. In a perfect yokai play. Not many times you see an Echo go crazy. And the MP5 SD is a plenty fine weapon, but the kit leaves wanting more. But in rounds like that, where you know Evergreen fall to time, where they have to default to a slower strategy and you know you're going to force it out from them. What is your win condition? It's to keep the diffuser planting. Force them off. And that yokai drone does it to a T. And it was so darn close. How many chances will you give Evergreen to frag you out? How many sightlines will you contend with? And how many Putnam players are you going to feed the beast to the final two? It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Putnam come away with that round win. Huge contributor of blue. Entered that round 9-8 and escapes it 11-8. Getting the much needed 2 frags to secure the victory and the utility success story to boot. Now Evergreen have to give 1/10 of that performance to stay alive on their own defensive attempt to this basement site. And they don't even bring a shield once again, not even awarded. This will be a passive bunker hold for Evergreen here, Zayden.
I'm a fan of what Xylex is doing up in this big tower. But you need to go and try your best to play at least a little bit more conservative, ensuring that your presence is properly felt across the entire map. Blue will spot out Xylex. That's pivotal right there. That's something that can alter the round if you go and use that information properly. If you set up a proper cutoff to stop the Goyo dead in his tracks. They have a lot of time to work with. And Evergreen's done a great job on this basement site of slowly cutting them off. But look at how spread out Putnam is. This is completely different from what we've seen in the past. They're trying something new. And I am all there for it. That is perfect. Exactly what you want to see. Xylex rotating back down to site. That's another good win condition for Putnam. You either get him off the board or you force him back to site where he can be dealt with just like any one of those other players.
Honestly, I'd say it's better for Evergreen at this point. Xylex staying alive and maintaining their life and not just extending out to die and hope for a 1v1 or maybe a 2v1. Leaving Xylex up with that Vector is going to be a very dangerous force. Putnam. Yeah, they'll be happy he gets away back down to the basement. Well, they'll know that they are waiting for him. But they'll also be sorely missing the opportunity to get that man advantage and be able to isolate the player on that extension. Candela out through Freezer. Rez is hoping that any player that may be here will now no longer have sight lines to contend with. The retinas will be completely rinsed. That's not going to be the case. That's every Candela for Rez's, for Putnam in general. No longer on the board, Zayden, and that's not where you want to be. Still with 60 seconds left in this round. You've guaranteed a step-up position into Freezer, but you haven't guaranteed anything past that. With a Freezer swing work, Rez's somehow dices up Xylex. 40 seconds left, and it's the first blood. But Lux gets the refrag back where necessary. Blue, stealthy as can be, tries to swing, but doesn't note Exotic's box fixes position. Still within Laundry. Crossfire from Freezer. Exotic, you're gonna have to stay here. You have nothing else you can do from here. As Lux sprays to get the Laundry denial. Shots to contend from Exotic. It somehow works for him. It's just Nacho. A 1v4. Contending to low diff, but Ton is too darn good. And Evergreen force another round of OT. It's every round possible in the first map of the series. Oregon comes to its conclusion here in round 15.
What an astonishing show of force from Evergreen. We had a 5v5 there on the site. I think that's the first time in this series that we've had all 5 players alive when it comes down to a final commit. And it worked wonders for Evergreen. Smoke canisters or just regular smoke grenades being deployed all across Laundry. Holding your position is one of the best things you can do, and making sure that they don't get into those little rotations that get spelled disaster. That round was won, in my opinion, the moment that Boxfish was able to go and maintain their position inside of the little cubby.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Just being able to continue to maneuver around that angle, use the mirror shield, mirror window. There are so many little micro factors that Evergreen used to great effect. Valiant effort from Putnam. At the end of the day, It all comes down to this, with Putnam having a very strong advantage being on the defensive end. But we have seen this second floor bomb site fall, albeit on the side of Evergreen.
10 seconds.
Information and time. Two things that Evergreen are going to have to overcome. But it all comes down to this, as we enter our final 3 minutes here on Oregon.
Very concerned for Evergreen. The operator selection does not brew up positive feelings for me, that's for sure. But sometimes when the going gets tough, you've got to get cheeky. And Evergreen are bringing that in spades. A Glass can play big window, it can play the repel. Xylix will play their comfort pick of Finka. You still need the boosts no matter what. And having that Ying available is still quite dandy. The odd ones out will be that Grim. Can Tun show up to bring it out, as same as we saw Putnam do effectively? Will it just be something they aren't well versed in, something they aren't prepped in? Something that you can see teams typically falling back on, especially the younger teams. Teams that maybe have less of a depth of arsenal, less of a depth of strat book. Will they fall into comfort picks and pray that it'll work? Unfortunately, a bad toss out for the utility for the Flame Bolt. Doesn't keep Lux away from the site. Lux will get this plant down. Candela's trying to keep them up, but the plant can't be finished. An impact from below almost takes them down. It damages Lux, but the gun will secure. Xylix has to frag up to save life, and Low Diff does the same. Diffuser, horrible spot to be. Blue and Tuck dice up the two remainder, and it's just Low Diff. Has to go crazy. A 1v2 with 80 seconds left, and Low Diff steps into the lines of sight of Blue from bottom of White Stairs. No one is covering your plancher from first floor. Xylix got killed there 2 rounds prior. You know the position. But they can't use it themselves, and Putnam take it through. Oregon falls to Putnam City, and your fall champions dice up your spring champions in game 1 of the series.
I was very impressed starting off with the ability to enter the site. That was great. I couldn't immediately see the entire amount of coverage, but you got to understand the moment that they hear that sort of audio cue, you're sprinting downstairs, you're going for a nitro, you're going for impacts. It's a very quick and easy rotate. And even that phantom pressure of having the window open is one player you can leave there that can get towards the site and cover the diffuser from down below. It's one of the best abilities to hold in the entirety of that second floor bomb site. So very close for the Cougars as they had the opportunity to take that site. And it's going to be those little micro changes that they need to make going into the second map of Cafe. Wow. What a map from Putnam, where they went and they had to put in the work. They had to go and really fight for that comeback, but they did it. They achieved it, and it all came down to overtime where they knew they had the advantage. I tip my cap to them, and that's exactly how you hold your own map pick.
Yeah, there's a ridiculously good map. They hold on strong. They get it done in OT, and despite the huge comeback from Evergreen and meeting match point first, they still get away with the victory at the end of the day. Will the second map be any different? We're heading to Cafe Dostoevsky, but before then, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more R6 action here for the HSEL Nationals. Stay tuned. Let's see if this one ends in 2, or if we're forcing a third. Can Evergreen get the job done?
I imagine there are many more that I just don't know about, because no one really, displays their passion for esports, because, it's not really seen as cool in a sense.
My name is Trey Curtis.
My name is Jordan Langford.
My gamer tag is TapU.
My gamer tag is Swizz.
But what got me into gaming is the Wii, I think probably. My parents got me a Wii when I was really young. Played like Wii Sports, Super Mario.
Definitely my older brother, watching him play, hearing about other kids in my school playing games. So yeah, that's really how I got into gaming.
I don't really do any like extracurricular things. I take like AP classes and honors classes, but besides that, I don't really do anything extracurricular. So having like esports, like something I like to do a lot, I think is it's just really cool, especially like being able to do it with friends and things like that.
I love the guys. We practice a lot together. It takes a lot of chemistry to make a team work. We haven't lost a game in the regular season yet, and the 3 tournaments we've played in so far. And I think that's just because of our, dedication, hard work, teamwork, working together, working things out when they don't exactly go how we plan them to. And I think that's a really good piece to our success is our chemistry.
I guess I wasn't really too talkative in school and stuff. Meeting like 2, they were juniors at the time, is like kind of cool as well because they added me to their group on Discord, and so like I kind of talked with a few people there. So I guess kind of brought me out of my own friend group a bit and like just talk to other people.
So I know a lot of people that, love the game at my school. I mean, I play with a lot of them, but I imagine there are many more that I just don't know about because no one really, displays their passion for esports because, it's not really seen as cool in a sense. And I really think that can be put away, that stereotype.
Welcome to HSEL Nationals 2024, presented by Oakley. HSEL Nationals is coming to Midwest Fest June 7 through 9, and you can grab tickets right now. Here's just a sample of what you can expect by attending. 1, the best high school esports student athletes in the nation battling it out over 3 days to see who becomes the undisputed national champion. 2, an Apex Legends tournament featuring the best schools from HSEL and anyone brave enough to stand against them. 3, Supernova Retro Arcade. 4, dance your heart out and feel the rhythm because Casey Bemini is bringing your favorite rhythm games here to Midwest Fest. And last but not least, giveaways. Just by attending Midwest Fest, you'll be entered into one of HCL National's numerous giveaways. And you can increase your entries by completing various objectives around the festival. All of these things and so much more are what you can expect by attending HCL Nationals at Midwest Fest. It all goes down June 7th through the 9th, live in Kansas City. Join us and see for yourself who will lift the trident.
I love it. Like, I know a lot of people from other schools that I talk to, they envy us in a sense because they wish they had an opportunity to be able to be with your friends and compete. Even talk to my parents, they're like, wow, I wish we had that when we were younger. So it's a cool opportunity for sure.
I would have probably never became friends with these people if I didn't join it. They're really cool. They're actually fun to hang out with.
We got the hang of it pretty quick, and yeah, Generation Esports is a pretty decent website, I will say. The queuing is easy, you can figure out what time you want to play, and it's all around just super fun talking with other people from other schools.
HSEL Nationals continues to kick off with a wonderful first series of this beautiful Saturday evening at this point. I guess I would say afternoon, not yet to evening for a lot of folks, but my goodness, we've seen Evergreen, who we thought for the longest time there, Satan, was going to be this unstoppable force. They are the spring major champions for a reason, and they step into this as the number 2 seed due to their performance in first fall. That only puts them behind one roster, that's Putnam, who didn't have the best spring, right? So you're looking at this middle split between these teams, or it should be evenly matched, and the first map gives us that. Oh my goodness, a full map, OT included, and Putnam had to make the comeback after the best start you could ask for, and they get the job done. But this is a second map, and it's going to feel like a different map entirely. There is no differences, or sorry, there is no similarities, I should say, between Cafe Dostoevsky and Oregon. Two completely different beasts in a wide open map that's more so similar to Chalet, where we know that Evergreen Valley are so darn good at. I have to think this will favor them, and I have to think a third map may very well be on the chopping block, and we already know how Clubhouse pans out for Evergreen.
I'm interested to see how Putnam's going to stack up against this roster. Evergreen's done a great job of mandating, and I say mandating because that aggression when they're playing towards a site, that's mandated. You can't say no. You have to go and send every single bit, every fiber of energy needs to go right into that. And I think we should see a lot of aggression towards those cocktail windows, cheeky little peeks, lots of jump outs should be expected. And if they can go and, on the side of Putnam, manage those expectations and be very controlled in their approach, controlled on the windows that they are careful for, as Evergreen will be attacking first, it'll be very interesting. And a heart breach in the form of Ace will be the first to be chopped off the block for this match. And that's a relatively interesting one, as it's going to shift a lot of hatch control towards Habana.
I would honestly argue this more so puts a lot of contention towards Lounge up on the third floor. Evergreen would be able to break the hatch, as you would expect, on top of Red Stairs, and then you'd be able to toss Selma's down below. But removing the ace now means that Xylix, who is a pretty big ace player, as we saw in Clubhouse, and for a little bit in the early stages of their attack previously on Oregon, now into a secondary role, and they're going to have to bring Habana in instead, which will change up the dichotomy of the operator selection, the role selection for Evergreen, and is honestly just a really good ban for Putnam, about as good as you can ask for. Evergreen follow up with a buck that is somewhat surprising. Verticality is very important for this map, but Ram can also do that job, and Sledge also is quite good at it. This will make that second floor arguably the hardest objectives to step into. That's why they're typically tertiary anyways. And then the Kiva barricades will no longer be allowed to be put in play, as Solus is followed up by Putnam as their last ban. Everything is as expected. The one ace in the hole is that ace. And I think that's just a really smart ban by Putnam, all things considered. If it's a target or not, it's just about as good as you can ask for.
Who always plays or who has typically played the ace on the side of Evergreen?
It's been Xylix.
Yep.
Xylix has been pretty heavy on that ace. And target banning Xylix is important, but it's also every time Xylix wasn't the secondary hard breach, Evergreen's entire role selection was changed, and forcing them into new roles where maybe they're arguably less comfortable is really smart when you don't want to give Evergreen any chance to sit pretty, any chance to start feeling themselves, any chance to heat up. Because if you let Xylix or any of the rest of the team heat up, like Low Diff went crazy on the second map of Clubhouse just yesterday, you're going to be in a world of pain.
Attackers have discovered the location.
It's real interesting the way that I see Cafe in my mind. It's always that top-down cookie-cutter approach. It's a cookie-cutter map if you go and look at the outline. It's a perfect rectangle. What I'm interested in is, with the ace being off the board, if we see the switch from the Thermite over to the Habana, you're looking to go and open up lines of sight, contending with this mirror window, and contending with the mute gemmers, which mute's no longer banned. Natural's going to be taking that quite swiftly. How exactly are you going to contend? How exactly do you use exotic boxfishes, Twitch drones to go and contend? There's so many different ways that this cookie cutter, quote unquote, map could go, especially on the singular bomb site, that I'm left with so many questions about the interactions that we're going to see. The Valkyrie adding another layer in the information game. whoever gets this opening kill, the frag that it is, will make all the difference here, Scott. And it all comes down to which team is able to go and maintain a very steady, utility-filled approach.
Cafe tends to be a very defender-sided map for the most part, but Collegiate's fallen in for really aggressive teams. Your GSUs, your, I would even say Akron for the most part, which is one of the most accoladed collegiate teams. Teams that know they've got this fragger, they know they've got players that are clinically talented to a high level. It's fallen more to their side of the attack because they play super aggressive and they're willing to take angles that would most defenders make them feel a little bit too uncomfortable to do so. So I would hope that Evergreen would fall into that and they'd be able to trickle down the strategies from teams like that to fall into the more LATAM style of approach. But Evergreen played a very NA style clubhouse yesterday, and their chalet was not that different from what you'd expect an NA team to typically bring, bar the mainstay objective of the choice for them was master bedroom and office, which has fallen apart for most teams in R6 to this point. It's just a questionable start and something that Evergreen will now need to make up, as Xylix and Low Dift off the board puts them in a 2-player disadvantage, and Putnam are having no problems whatsoever on keeping Evergreen out of the map, let alone able to contend into any sort of space. A shield over towards New Balk, that's snuffed hiding behind it, and off goes Exotics Boxfish. Ton, who needs to swing into Cigar Lounge, almost costs themselves from stopping their fire too soon. And Ton has to get the kills and does so. It's a drone hole snuffed. It's a good idea,
This gives
but the
them a lot.
shield's just in the wrong spot. Oh!
C4 missing for Putnam. They still have one more in the bag. I mean, it hits, but not all the way. They still got that gun up. With 15 seconds to go, that gun can make all the difference. You just need one tap towards the head of your opponent. Lux swinging towards the freezer. They'll get chopped down by the SMG-11. With a narrow amount of HP, the SMG-11 is your worst nightmare. Extremely high rate of fire, only needing one bullet to connect. Moving towards this diffuser they know is in play, and the spray from the SMG. You won't even need the headshot. Body shots is all you need. Putnam is going to go up with the first round in a very dominant fashion, and a little bit of a misstep in certain areas, but they managed to hold on.
Wow, Putnam City. A round one that you need to ask for on the defensive side. And yes, that third floor can be pretty darn difficult to defend a lot of times. But Evergreen, it required too much from Ton, to be totally honest. There's no reason why your player stacked up inside Cigar with a shield should be surviving that long. There's no reason why the lounge player should be allowed to sit so far back. And it was just a total denial from Putnam for new balcony hatch. They didn't want to have to worry about it. They didn't want to have to worry about anyone from a crossfire. They didn't want to have to worry about anyone top of White Stairs window. That's why they had 2 players in C2 and another one in C1 at the time. Rotating one of the players in C2 to C1 is, I guess, what I should say. There wasn't 3 players there, it was just 2, but very mobile, one of them. That's what you would expect from a defense on that third floor. And now, with it locked out with the success of round one, they'll have to drop down to kitchen first. Service and prep are in play. And Evergreen, from the looks of their operator selection, will be going for a second floor top-down approach. As you would expect, they'll use the Ram drone to break down a lot of that B objective. They can also use it to clear out a whole lot of A, and that'll force Putnam away from sight, more so towards Freezer, and especially off towards Kochek and Central Hall, as well as New Bar, where Evergreen will then have to make the decision what's the safest way down from that second floor. And while you would like to go for Hatch and you're bringing the Ibana and the Thatcher to do so, if any of your extension from Putnam finds either Ton or Xylix, sorry, not Xylix, either Ton or they just got off the Ibana, so it was Xylix. They have no hard breach. Never mind. If they go top down, they very well may just lose this round. They have no hard breach to get rid of Hatch. They would have to lap all the way around from second floor with the Ram drone to then take Bakery.
It's
confused. The only conceivable entrance. Was that an accident switching off? I genuinely don't know. This has me
Do
at
any
a
of these
loss.
operators have a can opener as an option?
Yes,
I believe, yeah.
I believe so. It's
That-
hard
that's a
pressed to
misstep.
find 5 operators in a lineup that don't have can openers. One of them is more likely than not going to have a can opener.
That's a misstep. It
This
has
is an
to
odd
be.
choice.
I mean, they have the man advantage already snuffed down to a critical amount of HP. A minute 35. We've been spent deliberating, questioning what's going on. Maybe low diff is just meant to sit upstairs and not even need anyone with them. There's still a lot of room to go and make a difference. But I'm left with more questions than answers. We're looking for adaptability here.
Oh! Foot was just spotted. Low diff knows it. For the last ram drone they have. They have the sight line. Nacho.
Wow.
There's no chance to survive. Putnam. The only way to survive the onslaught of verticality from the second floor is to not be there. You need players in coat check. You need a player inside New Bar. You need a player off towards Freezer. You have to be willing to separate from your position. You need a player behind Bakery shelf. Even a player in small bakery, which is a pretty common spot for a lot of teams. That's where Rez's just was. But when you do that as well, you have to be very aware of the fact that a player stepping down from staircase can get you and find that job a good one. Maybe this is what Evergreen were going for. A very gun-up engagement, a very gun-up round. This also puts Evergreen forced to step in through double door, and Tuck has a great angle here. Off from Freezer, the AUG in hand. They can lap around, though, and step up towards Service instead. There it is. You work from small bakery, you typically find a whole lot more of an effective entrance. You still need hard breach. When you kill everybody and it's just one man standing and you know where they are, for the most part know where they are, you don't have to worry too much about what defensive utility is there. A very shocking result for me for Evergreen to take that round. But, you know, that's what Evergreen does best here, honestly, Zeta. They impress me in rounds that I would never assume it would be possible to come back into.
I want to go and highlight their ability to use the verticality.
That ram
And
just is so darn good. You never need it. Like, that
is.
buck ban is useless, though, if you're just going to bring ram.
I want to highlight, though, think about how you would play. If there's no hard breach being opened up, because most of the time the hard breach will open up and then that goes and shifts the way you play in addition to the holes and the verticality. Would it not cause you to play even the slightest bit different when there's no holes being opened up and they're only using the holes that you set up? The holes that you've set up in that are expected to be gone and changed throughout the round, and you adapt to the holes they open with their hard breach. It's a very fascinating line of thought to go and think about, where you still have that hatch available. How are you going to go and change your pieces? How are you going to play in that scenario when the holes are not opened up and you feel a lot more vulnerable in certain positions? And a false sense of security in others. I think that Evergreen might have gotten very, very fortunate with the response there.
I don't think they have a single player, actually, that has
There's still no hard breach.
Yeah. They're not playing Capital. They don't have Montaigne or Fuse. No Buck, obviously, was banned.
I swear Lion
They
has
don't
can
have a single
openers.
player that actually gets pocket breaches. No, I think they got rid of him offline. Mine was a little bit too good with them, I think they viewed it. No, they don't have a single operator that would have them. So, and picking it now twice in a row just leads me to believe that this is Evergreen's strategy. This is what they want. But losing a player early changes a lot of what your strategy is going to pan down to. You need a little bit more roam clear for this top floor, because Putnam realized what Evergreen were doing. They put a whole lot of top control and basically forced you into these tight spaces on the first floor and know exactly where you're going to be. It's winning by default is kind of what Evergreen were going for. Knowing where you are by default. There's only 5 or 6 places you can be in, and there's only 5 players you can shoot at. Which means you just got to check every single one of them, and the job's done. Job's good. But Evergreen now are lacking a player that could do so well. Snuffed now in space upstairs on the second floor. Train Museum? Oh no, it's more like Train Cemetery. That's 3 players for Snuffed. Though they will eventually fall, the damage is done. You have no ramp. You have no lion to keep them still, and you don't have a Dokkaebi to call to force them to pull out their phones. This will require Luxed and Exotic Boxfish to play out of their minds. Peeking with 0 utility. A pocket EMP won't do you any good, and there sure as heck won't be a use for the Gridlock track stingers anytime soon.
There's no real way into sight here. You have a crouch hole, and that is the entirety of your arsenal. You hear the movement. You have to contend with the hallway. This 20 seconds, see if we're almost doing enough damage. You need to go and just use this time to think about what's going on and think about how you need to go and make those edits, especially as you're going back towards attacking a 3rd floor bomb site. Great, brilliant play from Putnam City, all off the back of Snuffed. 3 kills inside a Train Museum, almost getting that 4th one. That is a team that is immediately ready to adapt, and Evergreen needs to be a lot more proactive in that sort of scenario. They were pushing in, especially to dining there, looking around and wondering where they were being shot from, and there was not nearly enough control to help the Lion, and it was not coordinated. You need to have that extra information, and EE1D should have been dispersed there. I know you want to utilize it on the vertical, but if you can't get to that vertical, it's not going to do you any good.
Jackal would also be pretty good instead of the Dokkaebi. I know Dokkaebi's nice
Very
with the
true.
Mark 14 EBR, but you need to clear out any extension. And the droning,
I don't like the Dokkaebi.
Obviously isn't good enough if you're not able to secure that there are players on that extension. The fact that we see Snuffed get away with not just 1, but 2 more kills up there in that space.
Hold on.
Is unbelievable. The first one up on the 3rd floor and then falling down to the 2nd and getting 2 more. Drone work's got to be a little bit tighter, a little bit more under control, I would say, for Evergreen. And it's one of those strategies where you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and when it works, it looks really good. And it works very well, like we saw in round 2. But when it doesn't, like round 3, you're forced to look at your basket drop and all your eggs shatter and go, oh no, my eggs. There is no picking it up. There is no recovering a couple of those pearly white eggs and hoping that something's different when you try it again. It's over. All of your eggs were in one basket and you will be starving for the remainder of breakfast time. It's just an odd choice for Evergreen. You want a strategy where if you fail on the initial play, say you lose a player or 2 and you no longer have that utility, there's a backup option. Your strat book should say, here's my win condition for this strategy. It's the pursuit for 3rd floor, the clearance for 2nd, and then verticality. We lose Ram, what's our next option? Something like a Buck? Banned, not available. A Sledge should then be in play. Something like an Ash even, or a Zofia with a lifeline impact. Something that can also break floorboards. Just having a secondary option. A hard breacher, pretty darn important, but you can also just have a pocket breach to help things out so you can take that kitchen freezer hatch and try to help your team as much as possible. A Capitao is pretty darn good, and a Ying's just as good as well. There is no reason not to have one of the 2. But you have a Monty now, which means you could have had pocket breaches. They went for smoke canisters instead. I can nitpick as much as I can, but this is actually a very good strategy for this objective, knowing how Putnam played this previously. You actually have a safe way in a cigar from New Balcony. And you arguably have the easiest way into Cigar Lounge than you ever had previously. It's just a lot of weight on what was Tun's shoulders at the time and now Xylex's, and that just is exactly what you're asking for from down below on 2nd floor. The toss-up of a century, and you've lost the Monty.
They have a lot to push towards. New Balcony is extremely dangerous as Blue whips out the Deagle. Secure yet another kill. Looking at a 2v4. Xylex constantly needing to contend with the mine that's just not able to be shut out. Interesting placement. Zylex is gonna have to swing for it. They'll lose their life. All left up to Lux, who's gonna sway towards that long piano hallway. Not gonna happen as Rezes is ready on the Fenrir to swing, and on what I would call the most pivotal operator for that entire defense, aside from the Valkyrie with the information in the C4. Those fear canisters did absolutely wonders. It worked wonders. It completely shut down the Montang, shut down the Gridlock, and most importantly, shut down the Ash of Zylex, who could not even remotely push into piano.
Zylex is not having a game here.
No.
It's a troublesome time. We mentioned it yesterday, Evergreen Valley, so much of their success, specifically on the attack, but it's so on the defense as well, because Zylex typically gets those first bloods. That's your player hunting for him. You shut down Zylex, you tend to shut down a lot of the Evergreen Valley presence. And it's not saying that the only player in Evergreen is Zylex. That's 100% not true. I could point at 4 different ones that all have their invaluable, success and invaluable importance to the rest of the roster. But their 4 other players are creating the opportunities for Zylex to go. Letting Zylex off the leash means that 4 players need to be heavy on the leash. And for the last map of Oregon, I think we saw a little bit too much of low diff to be forced into an extension with Zylex in the later stages, which I think kind of gave Putnam a dog back into the fight. Maybe one of the reasons why we saw them take the last 2 rounds when Evergreen were at match point for that first game, and they lost Zylex immediately, and then low diff was never too far behind for their loss of life either. Their roam game, I don't know, just not what you're asking for. Now it's an attacking side that's not having the main factor, the main impact player you'd expect for a map like Cafe that I was really hyping up Zylex for, TBH. That may be a caster's curse thing. I apologize, Zylex. Having that be lacking is a little bit troublesome for Evergreen, and they're going to desperately hope that that defense that they're really darn good at, let's be honest, will be a whole lot different. They got 2 more rounds to get through as round 5 is underway and 30 seconds in. Evergreen on the attack. No way they're going to play in from top down. Tons already in the first floor at New Bar.
It's going to be on Rezes to be able to spot this one out. They'll do exactly that. As they find low diff, they'll eventually find the line as well. That call towards their team should happen relatively promptly, as they have a false sense of security in the first floor. I'm relatively curious. I want to go and highlight Snuffed, who's been playing on that mirror, doing a great job. C4 is going to be cooked out. It's going to get caught up above. That is the worst case scenario for Rezes, as all these players are going to be waiting and ready to go and close in on their position. A minute 40 as that Dokkaebi phone call also gives away their position. Low diff start swinging in, getting ready to hold towards kitchen prep. They'll rotate up towards the second floor, but look at all the time that has been drained off the board here. This Pulse, all they need to do now is make sure they stay alive inside this freezer into a way that they are not easily pushed. Flash is coming out. They just have to time it using the window, as down goes Rezes with a minute 15 now remaining.
This is a different Putnam. Putnam's being different gravy in this series, and right now Evergreen, they've got to stop the hemorrhaging. They're bleeding out. This round, only 60 seconds left, still not panning out super well for them. They don't have very many options in towards site. They're struggling to find the safe space forward. Bakery roof is plenty fine, but you got a player just around the corner, and they can breach open that soft wall, and the mute jammers are denying a whole lot of active information that you're hoping for. You see low diff up on the second floor, working new balk, knows there's a player up above as E-ping was given. But you have no way to know for sure, and Ton hopefully goes down and can get picked up, but I don't know for sure. They'll lose their teammate a low diff after they find one. Snuff finishing Luxt. It's just Zylex. A 1v3, but a Ram has nothing but an R4C in hand. And is that 18 bullets total? How many walls has Zylex been pre-firing?
10 seconds left.
They have to tap fire for the remainder of this round. 13 left. Dumping all but 2 into Tuck. Pistol must be brought out. There's not even time to go pick up Diffuser. Putnam will default win round 5. And Evergreen Valley are now looking at a really rough for wear first half, where they have to get this next to go 4-2.
Can I highlight Snuffed in that round? Third floor
Very good
Mira
round for Snuffed.
coverage. Man, oh man. Reaching double digits in round 5. 10 kills plus to their name now. That is an absolutely astonishing feat, and it's been pivotal in shutting down Evergreen. I talked previously about other teams they make sure to shut down Xylix. You got to get rid of Snuffed. And Snuff's been playing on a role like Mira where they don't need to go and roam around. This is one of the early rounds we have the Vigil being taken by Snuff. They're going to be out on the roam. The win condition here. Last time we saw Snuffed inside a train museum. They need to utilize this Vigil. They played Fenrir previously. Utilize this Vigil in a way that they can continue to rotate around. Lux switching over to the Montang. I support that decision. We see a lot more hard breach being selected, or previously selected in the form of the Thermite switching over. What I need to see from this Montang are those can openers. Capitao, perhaps I'd love to see a can opener. In other words, Scott, please. Oh, there we go. We're safe. We got hard breach. We do have hard breach. I was scared for a moment there. Interested to see if we have any other sets of can openers. No, we do not.
Nope.
We have 2 sets of EMPs.
Despite Capitao and Montaigne having it.
The win condition now for Evergreen is ensuring that Low Dipped makes it into a suitable position, and Snuffed playing with a ridiculous amount of security and comfort on this 3rd floor. It's going to be all about maneuvering and making their way through holes and cracks in the Evergreen offense.
Got a bit of history between these two teams and history in general for them in the HSEL. Big shout out to HSEL for all this in the first place, getting into nationals. Putnam have been in the HSEL for 3 years. 3 years here. Step up, work their way through so many trials and tribulations. They finally step up as a major team. They take the fall major champions. A tough battle to get there. 2-1 in the finals. 4-2, you know, to seed in. They had a pretty darn good time about it. Spring wasn't as clean for them. In Evergreen's first season in the HSCL, they come through flawlessly. Not even a mark on their record heading into the actual finals. Bar a single map against Colony, and they made up for that just yesterday. And now Putnam are putting Evergreen on the back burner. This round, though, not so much the same story. Evergreen, 5 players up in a 5v2. Exotic will go down, but Plant's already down as well. 35 seconds and ticking. And Snuffed. K1A is pretty darn good, but Evergreen have positioned themselves beautifully, having been able to step into the site with that Thermite exothermic charge off towards Bakery Wall. Snuffed will have to pray they can get a tertiary angle off from the flank side of Small Bakery. Force a player out from Bakery door. Get some damage out. Nothing connecting. Time is running out. Nacho flank from Xylix. Nothing they can peek towards. And Snuffed falls as well.
Absolutely incredible performance there from Evergreen, showing great signs of life, and that's exactly what you want going into the split. This is the 2nd time, or I guess we could say 3rd time in this series that we have a 4-2 split, as Putnam replicated it afterwards. And it's just been a bouncing back and forth ideology. Evergreen is going to have to really push here because they're still at the map disadvantage. Putnam just needs 3. They are 3 simple rounds away from winning this series and propelling themselves towards the finals. I want to highlight Evergreen's choice to completely change up their sort of mentality on their push and go and just for a strong brute force through Bakery. That was a great decision. However, they need to transfer that into defense now. They need to transfer all of those sort of scenarios, those win conditions, into going and stalling out. Snuffed is going to be the player going towards the LMG wheeling Finca. And I feel like the coin's been flipped onto a different side now, Scott.
Yeah.
As I'm constantly turning my
changed.
attention towards Snuffed. Yeah, it is. And Snuffed has done a great job of forcing all eyes towards them. How exactly are they going to enter in? How are they going to shut down Evergreen? It's an interesting line of thought, and I'm interested to see where this second half takes us.
We do have an upset alert. To a Leighton, a team that Evergreen had to get through initially in quarterfinals for spring. The number 7 national seeded team. The team that Evergreen actually beat 2-0. Like I said, a pretty flawless victory through things. just took down Blue Valley, who had made it, by the way, to the spring championship against Evergreen, the number 4 seed. That means in a 7-4, 7-3, a 2-map series, Tualatin brings themselves forward, and that drops out Blue Valley entirely as they were in the loser's side of the bracket. That means the only thing we're left with is the secondary lower semis match of Palmdale High School versus Colony, and then the winner of both will move on to face each other off and see who will be fighting off against the loser of this series, whether that be Evergreen or Putnam on a major comeback. Or sorry, whether that be Putnam who comes through and wins, or Evergreen in a major comeback and forces Putnam there. We'll have to see. But at the rate at which it's going, especially with this round, Evergreen may just be facing off against either Tualatin again, with the winner of Palmdale versus Colony. Because Exotic's too low. This is not a good spot for your Valkyrie to be in. Thankfully, defensive positioning will favor you. But the drones are coming in heavy, and there's so much for Putnam to clear out. But they've got so little contention on that second floor, and they've got a Wiggler roaming around Train Museum right now, worming their way around and waiting for a drop down for the side of Evergreen to escape from this third floor if they need to fall back.
Down goes Blue. It's been an interesting round. Snuffed, capturing their second. They've shifted over to play on the sledge. 44 seconds to go here. Boxfish still at a very limited amount of HP. This round can go either way. It all comes down to how Boxfish is going to be able to utilize their utility, especially considering they still have a nitro cell available and they've made their way down to the second floor. That could be a denial sort of position. Man count. 25 seconds. Tone playing inside Cocktail, spraying towards Bar. With 15 to go. C4 being attempted. Natro down. Triple kill for Luxt. 10 seconds. Tone is down. 2v2. Nitro Cell no longer available. With 5 to go. No attempt at the plan. They're spraying, trying to find it. Tuck attempting it. And it's going to be Boxfish to shut that one down as Evergreen narrows it down to 1.
Evergreen in a bad spot from the very beginning of that round, losing a player and still coming away with it. Through trial and tribulation, Evergreen arise to the occasion, and their first defensive parlay leads them to a victory by the slimmest of margins, though, Zayden. Exotic Boxfish clearing out the planter of Tuck. Because in R6, you can stick that diffuser and you can hold it past time is up. You just have to start it 0.01 before. You can hold it through. And the covering fire wasn't expecting the wraparound from Exotic from top of white, technically top of red stairs. You could see that slow prowl from down below 1 second. That was something Evergreen were cooking up for the longest period of time. And when it needed to come up, it did. Now they'll head down to kitchen service and prep. You'll need to be very aware of the fact that Putnam, I don't expect them to play a lack of hard breach like we saw Evergreen do. Second floor will still be theirs for control. They want that ram from Snuffed. Doesn't seem like they'll attack a repick off, and they'll even bring a Thatcher in case there's hard breach denial. But there's nothing really there for the side of Evergreen. This Thatcher isn't going to be as useful as Putnam would necessarily like it to be. But it can deny the My Pancakes, so there is still some value to be found within it. And who doesn't like the L85? Let's be totally honest.
Me.
Too bad I use the AR though. I have
I can't control it. Yeah. The skin makes all the difference.
I use Sledge with the L85. It's unbelievably good for a reason. The L85 is a spectacular
weapon. It's a phenomenal weapon. Easy control. It feels
takes better
very
players
thin,
than I.
Powerful. Interesting fact I want to add for this round: Xylix on the roam with the Goyo. What we need to see, and it's tough. Well, no, there's the difference I want to highlight. This is the first time we've seen them with a very negative KD, and it all. Ooh.
Oh, Blue, that's bangable.
Unfortunate. What I need to see from Xylex is the same amount of confidence as we've seen in previous rounds. That's my win condition here. Xylex needs to come up huge and play with the team. If that is achievable, we are looking at a pretty solid approach. Nacho opening up Freezer. That's the first time we see this wall opened up. And the map Cafe. And it's a relatively quick approach from Putnam, immediately trying to put some pressure on. All the way so that Xylex is rotated back.
I think Xylex's mobility is going to be the more important factor. Exotic maybe feeling themselves off the back of the UMP success will re-swing again. Tuck will accidentally TK their teammate, I assume. There is a drone placed just inside of B site, but that's a huge wraparound from Evergreen. And a re-stabilization of a wall, I believe, in Central Hall coming out from Luxt. It means that Central Hall will be a little bit harder for Putnam to pursue. But Tuck's DB and Ode and Nacho and Rezes are kind of in here alone in a 2v4 effectively. Can Tuck be picked back up? They're inside of sight, so there's nearly no way. And the diffuser on top of them as well. It's going to force Evergreen. Sorry, it's going to force the remaining two for Putnam to have to go into freezer at some point or another. Nacho, one lying around the corner, losing their only teammate standing of Rezes. Tuck knows that their time may be slim, but Nacho's doing their best to keep the fire going. But it's not burning so bright for Putnam. Double kill for Nacho, getting a third now off towards Exotic. 10 seconds remaining. And Luxt and Xylex will just swing at their own due diligence. There's the confidence from Xylex you were asking for.
Exactly what I need, and it's a kill like that can wake them right back up, get them get back into this matchup, which they are still very much engaged in. And especially as you have matches like this that have gone on extremely long. This is already a longer matchup for Evergreen than it was between them and the Colony. Just off the sheer round count alone, it's been absolutely astonishing. And, you know, Scott, as these rounds go on, I feel even my own eyes start to strain a little bit. And that's why HSEL Nationals is presented by Oakley. Elevate your gaming experience with the Holbrook, Latch, and Helix gaming eyewear collection. Designed with precision and style, Oakley's gaming glasses are engineered to provide ultimate comfort and superior protection against eye strain and fatigue. Experience sharper visuals and reduce glare thanks to Oakley advanced lens technology. Level up your gaming performance and protect your eyes with the Oakley's Holbrook, Latch, and Helix gaming eyewear. Explore the collection today at oakley.com and see the difference for yourself. And I know I'm going to need them, especially after all of this staring at a screen.
Yeah, the eye strain is fairly hot, especially when you've got so many monitors, so many lights. Well, the lights aren't blue lights. The monitors surely are. Gaming glasses tend to have those really nice blue light, protection. I do really need to buy me some.
They're comfortable too, man. Oh man, very, very comfortable.
Yeah, especially because like Oakley's is like typically considered to be a sunglasses brand, right? So
yeah, I use them for sports.
Yeah, for me, I like you can see my current glasses. They're just sunglasses with my prescription lenses in them. Like that's what I like, because you try to get glasses that fit your face shape and all these things. Typically sunglasses are the rectangular style glasses, and that's what I wear. So Oakley's would be a perfect fit. Maybe I gotta get in touch.
Yeah, and a final note on it is you get these cheap blue light glasses. Yeah, maybe the lens is gonna be semi-okay, but I've gotten them in the past, these really like cheap $20 ones, and they were just plastic. They weren't comfortable, and I'd take them off and my head would be in pain. Because they were either squeezing my head or it's like there was no adjusting it. It wasn't catered. It wasn't made with the same care. So that's the final note I'll put on it. Is Xylex was our opening fragger to give themselves a positive KD to take apart their offensive counterpart of Snuffed.
It's a good opening frag. Puts Evergreen on the solid repertoire to contend. Do you need more past that? And Low Diff says, I can do that. Off goes another. Putnam now lacking the Ram and the Dokkaebi. And their top frag more specifically is Snuffed. It's going to be a little bit hard to figure out where your team will sit past this point. There's a player inside Cigar Lounge. Luxt is just pixels away from the head of this player around the corner. It's a game of do-si-do. And while ashes can be very scary, I'm not too concerned about it here. The prone angle may just be enough to close sightlines, and even if they lose, which they did, they still have that player advantage. It's not even an objective you're too concerned about holding up on this third floor. All of this is just to buy time. As long as low diff can keep them out of C2, there's nearly no way for Putnam to safely take that second floor objective. Xylix, Vector up, down goes Tuck. Great swing into Cigar. Though the long shot from Blue does take down low diff, Xylix is still standing up here and waiting. And the damage has already been done. You have no more breaching rounds for floorboards. Nacho, no real time to make use of these exothermic charges. And yes, you have a breaching charge you can place and get some floorboards down. But they're not going to sit inside reading. They're not going to lie back there. They're going to sit inside A. They're going to sit towards train. And they're going to hold pillar. Let's put him step in towards site. Can Blue get this down? Nacho will have to go just behind shelf and begin to plant. Exotic can just swing this corner. Blue's able to take a third off into the afterlife. That's Xylix removed. Exotic up on the flank, the slowest prowl of all time. They'll see one trigger. Discipline not necessary. Hold the left click of the DP-27 and take Evergreen to 5.
Absolutely astonishing from Evergreen. They fought for that one, I can tell you that much. As we go stumbling towards our 10th round, Evergreen has taken the lead. Looking rather unstoppable. But we've seen this before. We've seen Evergreen get really hot in the middle of this match. It's now on Putnam to go and claw back into this match. They need to have a full-fronted approach all the way through the round, using their utility, making sure they get every ounce of it before they die. And no, Scott, not every single round is going to be a flawless one. But you need to set your team up to the best of your ability every single time. You need to be aware that the room that you're going into might not be the best one for you. You might not win that gunfight. But it's about setting yourself up the best you can. And if you've done everything to set yourself and your team up, and you happen to die but there's a trade, worth it. One thing that I could say when I did play was my gun skill was horrible. It was my knowledge of my position. It was horrible, absolutely horrid. I went back and looked at clips. I'm like, man, oh man, how did I get that kill? It was all off positioning, my utility usage, and my ability to work around my team. If you know you're not going to win that gunfight, if you know you're going against someone like Xylix or Snuffed, and they just have that gun skill diff, this is an FPS at the end of the day, how are you working with your team to make sure that you can relegate them to only getting one kill in that entire round? Timing, precision, there it is. I'm a huge advocate, and you're hearing me ramble about it. I'm a huge advocate to say that you don't necessarily need absolute gun skill to win this game. It's an important element, but you need to play together.
Putnam are no strangers to falling a little bit behind Evergreen in these rounds.
Attackers have located a bomb.
They let Evergreen get to 6 when the scoreline was 6-4 in Oregon, and they still came back. Full OT.
What?
Full OT. I love that bug. It's so much fun. Full OT. And they made that comeback. They figured out what Evergreen were bringing on the defense, and they countered it. A lot of it was kind of Evergreen shooting themselves in the foot. I mentioned it earlier. Felt like Xylix and Low Diff were extending a bit too much. And Putnam were being a whole lot more clean about their roam clear. That left them at such a man advantage as they take sight that Evergreen didn't really have a great chance against it. But will that be the same case here? It's hard to say. It's already a 5v3, and Evergreen looked very much so prepped to try to take it up to 6 once again and secure a victory on Cafe afterwards. Reaching around from Snuff to clear out a mirror window just to break it off and ensure there's no more visibility for the defense of Evergreen. Snuff able to see one player off towards Whitehall, but can't secure the kill, and That's not a player you're really wanting to swing at this point in time. You need your life secured, and you need easy kills with no damage back the other way. As Tuck will make sure nobody's off towards pillars, they'll drop down to the floor below, and then as soon as they thought there was a little bit of a break, Snuffed goes down and Nacho joins them in the afterlife. It's just Tuck.
45 to go here. You gotta try to isolate the frags best you can, and that won't be the case as the Bearing 9 is gonna need to be utilized, but recoil that is rather crazy as Low Diff will secure the final kill into Tuck, and Evergreen Valley going to match point on their own map pick. Sort of what you're expecting, but this defensive end has been so one-sided. That's 4 straight rounds, and Putnam City is backed against the wall once again. One thing I really want to see, Scott, from this Putnam City offense might actually be the Montang, where we saw that Evergreen Valley has banded on every single occasion, and I have to guarantee that's for a reason. The Montang's ability to just push and command control of different elements. We saw that it was used brilliantly through working in Bakery, getting into sight and providing live, accurate information towards their team. And there's a lot of angles you can utilize while pushing from that Bakery side with the Montang that makes him so dangerous. Of course, there are a lot of explosives being selected on the side of Evergreen. Proxies, 2 sets of impacts and 2 nitros. Not to mention that those Vulcan canisters will make a nice little hole. And these impacts aren't necessarily required, as we have a whole bunch of secondary shotguns. Primary in the case of Tone, but
Bomb located by attackers.
this looks to be a relatively interesting one. And for the first time in this match, we're going to see Deimos being selected by Snuffed. I think that's a wise choice, considering
Deimos
that
is so scary.
he's scary, but I think that's going to be able to go and close off Xylex almost immediately. It's going to force a rotate back to site, and really interested to see how exactly Snuffed is going to use Deimos, not just on their own, but with their team.
Deimos is very slept on. And the one time I saw possibly the best Deimos gameplay I've ever seen was in high school, of all things. There's a lot of time when you see high school, you don't expect too much. You're like, okay, what could they bring that, you know, haven't seen elsewhere? You know, if it's a new operator, you're typically very skeptical of any player, but you like to see it first in pro play, and then you'd like to see it trickle down, like we mentioned yesterday.
What?
But Deimos is a very scary op in the right hands, and Snuffed may just be those right hands. 13 kills, top fragging for their side for Putnam. They want to make sure they get there, and they want to make sure the changes they make will work for them. Evergreen are very much so stacked down on the first floor. Not a single extender to the second nor third. And that's the safest bet. But it also gives Putnam full clearance of that second floor floorboards. The roof above your head now no longer available, and they'll have to extend elsewhere. And it seems to be coat check, small bakery, large bakery, freezer, and new bar that Evergreen will hide within, as one more tucks on sight in hopes that they don't get spotted.
We know that Xylex did eventually get red pinged there, so that could make a relative difference. Attempted Kaid trick will not work out. C4 cooked, not going to find any sort of damage. Minute remaining here, still at a 5 versus 5. Castle barricades are next to be contended, as they'll have to go and melee this one out. 2 hands make quick work. Snuffed getting drone in by the Jackal of Blue. Yeah, I love the Mossberg on Deimos. You have the pistol for these long angles. Spraying out. Snuffed will find Luxt. Last opening frag and 35 seconds to go here as Goyo on the side of Xylex being targeted.
Where can Xylex go? There's not too much time. Low diff now removed. Luton does get a refrag back off towards Nacho. Player spotted just moments away from Snuffed. A second kill for them. The Deimos will fall. But Evergreen aren't done just yet. DB knows one and finishes Exotic off towards Tuck. It's just blue. Evergreen are 10 seconds away and 1 kill away. And there it is. Xylex guarantees a third map now in the series of Putnam City versus Evergreen Valley, your first and second seed, going all the way. OT map 1, nearly there for map 2, and a third map required. And we know just how good this Evergreen Valley team is on Clubhouse. But we saw them take a 7-1 victory against Colony on Chalet, and they had a much closer affair, plagued by tech and Ubisoft R6 errors aplenty in the second half. That was the flawless half for Evergreen Valley on Clubhouse. I don't think those are going to happen here for map 3. This is going to be another slugfest through and through, and there's absolutely no way to say who's going to win it.
Certainly not. I'm expecting this next one to go the entire distance, as Clubhouse is oftentimes a map where you see one thing, you need to adapt with another. But we'll be there very, very soon. Do not go anywhere. HSEL Nationals. We'll be back in just a few.
Welcome to HSEL Nationals 2024, presented by Oakley. HSEL Nationals is coming to Midwest Fest June 7 through 9, and you can grab tickets right now. Here's just a sample of what you can expect by attending. 1, the best high school esports student athletes in the nation battling it out over 3 days to see who becomes the undisputed national champion. 2, an Apex Legends tournament featuring the best schools from HSEL and anyone brave enough to stand against them. 3, Supernova Retro Arcade. 4, dance your heart out and feel the rhythm, because Casey Bemini is bringing your favorite rhythm games here to Midwest Fest. And last but not least, giveaways. Just by attending Midwest Fest, you'll be entered into one of HCL National's numerous giveaways. And you can increase your entries by completing various objectives around the festival. All of these things and so much more are what you can expect by attending HCL Nationals at Midwest Fest. It all goes down June 7th through the 9th, live in Kansas City. Join us and see for yourself who will lift the trident.
I love it. Like, I know a lot of people from other schools that I talk to, they envy us in a sense because they wish they had an opportunity to be able to be with your friends and compete. Even talk to my parents, they're like, wow, I wish we had that when we were younger. So it's a cool opportunity for sure.
I would have probably never became friends with these people if I didn't join it. They're really cool. They're actually fun to hang out with.
We got the hang of it pretty quick, and yeah, Generation Esports is a pretty decent website, I will say. The queuing is easy, you can figure out what time you want to play, and it's all around just super fun talking with other people from other schools.
Hello there, gamers and mental health enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into a groundbreaking study that explores the intersection of scholarly gaming and mental health education and how it can impact the self-esteem of adolescents. Picture this, a world where scholarly gaming isn't just about mastering technology-based career skills or dominating the world of video game business. No, it's a world where gaming becomes a gateway to improving mental health. 3 visionary educators and a school-based health intervention expert came together to create a curriculum that aligns with academic guidelines from the International Society for Technology Education. This curriculum spans 40 lessons, delivered over 14 weeks with a minimum of 120 minutes per week. But here's the twist. 83 schools were invited to participate, but they were divided into 2 groups, those with mental health moments and those without. The non-mental health moment group got the scholarly gaming curriculum alone, while the mental health moment group got an extra layer of education. Mental health moments were embedded into 27 lessons, integrating concepts from the PERMA framework and the Collaborative Academic Social and Emotional Learning Standards, otherwise known as CASEL. Now, let's meet our players. 471 participants from both groups, with almost 75% in high school, many experiencing scholarly gaming for the first time. A majority were male, and the racial diversity was broad. At the start, the average self-esteem score was 17.9, with 22.1% reporting low self-esteem. But hold on, the game's just beginning. As the study progressed, it revealed some fascinating results. While 57.7% of participants with low self-esteem at the beginning reported average self-esteem post-intervention, the mental health moments group stole the spotlight. Self-esteem scores improved by 8.3% in the mental health moments group, compared to no change in the non-mental health moments group. How's that for a power-up? Some students even shifted from abnormally low self-esteem scores to normal ranges. The message is loud and clear. Educators, healthcare providers, and adolescent advocates pay attention. Non-traditional educational instructions, like scholarly gaming, combined with mental health moments, can significantly improve students' well-being. And there you have it, a journey through the power of scholarly gaming and mental health moments. Remember, your self-esteem matters, and sometimes, all it takes is a little extra support to level up. Thanks for joining us on this adventure. Until next time, keep gaming, keep learning, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. They say the right tools can get any job done. We agree. Introducing Blueprint, a platform for educators built by educators. Blueprint is user-friendly, featuring drag-and-drop scheduling tools and a robust gradebook. Designed for the scholastic world, Blueprint empowers educators to create powerful course content. Plus, Blueprint is the exclusive provider of the popular Gaming Concepts curriculum. Learn more about how to gain access to Blueprint today.
All of these different types of kids can come together and they work together, and it's just so fun to see them winning together. So my name is Lori Burney. I'm with Geyer High School and from Denton, Texas, so part of Denton ISD. There is a future in it. You can go to school and get a scholarship with it. You can go into so many different areas and aspects of esports, leads to game design, computer science fields, and I just think that it's pretty limitless, what they could do. And it's our job as the adults and the educators to kind of, help guide them through, these different avenues that they want to go through and explore. Now our district has passed a bond where they're actually going to put $500,000 towards building eSport labs in all of our 5 zones. So we're really excited about that and how they're going to build it out. And that may never have happened had, this group not have, persisted and, kept at it to continue to play and put Geyer, Texas or Den, Texas on the map. Me coming from the outside, not ever playing Rocket League, but taking the time to sit back and learn and absorb as much as I could, it wasn't hard for me to see all of the different aspects that transcend, just beyond, esports in general. It goes across every plane.
People love Generation Esports. As the world of esports continues to grow, whether you're a teacher, student, or coach, Generation Esports is here to deliver solutions for any of your gaming-based interests. Our services work together, from competitive opportunities with scholarships to our innovative Gaming Concepts curriculum. We aim to give schools
The Cougars have shown that they still have some gas in the tank, and the Pirates failed to close things out in a 2-0 series. It's 1-1, heading into our third map of the day, off towards Clubhouse. And man, Banks, I am so darn excited. We get to see a full 3-map series of the number 1 and number 2 seed in HSEL Nationals, and it goes all the way full distance, and we could still see this matchup again in the grand finals when the loser of this game and of this next map drops to the losers finals. If they win out, they come back in at a map ban difference, since they were coming from the loser side against this team once again who wins it.
There's a lot on the line here and a lot of comfort, and there's a lot of mental rest that you would be able to get by escaping having to play another match tomorrow earlier in the day. It gives you a lot more freedom, and it gives you a lot more time to prep for your opponent, whoever they may be. But we still have a map before we get there, and that map is going to be Clubhouse. We've already seen the Cougars play on this map once. Their bans were pretty standard, but what wasn't standard was their ability to just frag out like crazy. Xylex leaving us speechless on multiple occasions. Will Putnam City Pirates have the answer? We're yet to find out.
Bans will go through. And for the map of Clubhouse, you'd maybe expect Evergreen once again to fall back into that Montaigne ban. They did it just yesterday, but maybe they realized Putnam may not be the team that's likely to pick up the Monty, and so you don't necessarily have to ban it out. You can pick out something that's a little bit more useful for Putnam. We'll have to see. Hibana is the first one banned by Putnam. They do not want to see the X-Kairos pellets, and then Monty is in fact still banned by Evergreen. They just do not like the shield. The old Extendo-matic shield, they do not want to see it. And defensively, we saw Zombie be banned. Maybe expect the same thing, but it'll be Fenrir instead.
No surprise.
None too shocking whatsoever. The Dreadnought mines are quite difficult. Defensively, though, for Putnam, they have a lot of options in front of them. There's like 5 or 6 must-ban operators on the defense. Fenrir is one of them. Solus, Valkyrie, Mira. Everything is an option. I think the Azami would maybe be the best choice possible. But it'll be the Kaid.
Wow.
Actually, this one is kind of shocking. Kaid is considered still a very good ban for a lot of maps. And for the map of Clubhouse, it makes that Rafters defense, the active Rafters defense of double garage walls, much easier to defend if you've got the X-Kairos. Sorry, not the X-Kairos. If you've got the Electro Claws that you can continuously toss from Rafters directly to the floor to get both sides of that garage. So maybe Putnam were very worried about the possibility of that OG style of defense there. But they won't get to use it for their first half because they start on the defense. And here we have Evergreen Valley on the attack as round 1 gets underway.
Your bombs from being defused by attackers.
It'll be interesting to see. We have the double hard breach, thermite, ace. And all they'll be contending with is going to be a mute jammer. There's not much you can do to go and protect it. And they're going for more of an open setup. I like having Jacuzzi Wall open. It makes for an interesting sort of dynamic. However, when we previously go and look back at Evergreen's approach to this site, they didn't even touch Jacuzzi Wall. That was one of my criticisms previously, as it felt very one-sided. I'm really interested to see how they're going to go and allocate these mute jammers, especially more towards the western wall of security and CC, especially inside of construction. It's going to be a very fascinating rotate. I'm not even sure if that wall got that's a little bit surprising to me. The lack of a reinforcement towards CC wall, especially when you have them still available in your pool. It's just a little bit of time and a little bit of utility that you can take away from your opponent, especially when the Hibana is off the board. With 2 minutes 35 seconds to go, great use by Xylex to get that quick use of utility. But you got to deal with those mute jammers first, and we'll see how promptly they can do that.
Is there no cache extension for Putnam?
No. Oh, maybe. I'm just having a little bit of trouble
is.
being able to tell.
Snuff for the P90 does take down Exotic Boxfish. It's that roam game off towards Garage. So there is an extension off inside cache. Rez's is there. And you would assume that Snuff was initially in that direction. They fall back through Oil. And they'll come up through Lounge. And if they don't go through Lounge, they'll go through main staircase. They went through main. They can sit atop the main stairs and be fine for the remainder of this round if they want to. But they can also still roam around on that first floor. Heading off towards strip. Clearing out billiards. Just making sure that there is nobody off towards rafters. There is the possibility of a good run out. If you're worried about jacuzzi exit for Evergreen and execution in that wall, you can make a very dangerous run out, though it'll say you're spotted for about 1.5 seconds before you have visual sight line of a player. As we see a Selma being used on a soft wall when Xylix has breaching charges in the pocket. I have mentioned this multiple times. Xylix has utility problems. Xylix can gun with the best of them, but Xylix has utility problems. And if Evergreen can get Xylix in good understanding of their role and their utility and what their agent or operator has, I think Evergreen's next level will be unstoppable. More so than it already feels like it is half the time. Rezzes and stuff, though, they get nice 2 frags. And down goes low diff. It's just Xylix now. A 1 versus 3 would seem impossible, but it's Xylix. Anything can be done. But the great swing by Blue at perfect timing makes it so that Xylix was unaware of the difference in elevation, and Putnam City will net themselves the very first round of this map.
I like that round a lot from Putnam. They did a great job controlling the flow of the round, but it didn't necessarily come down to that. It was a big lack of dealing with those mute jammers. I felt like they were constantly seen and not properly addressed. Construction wall for starters, where you could go and it's a dome around this mute jammer. If you wanted to, you can go and place a Selma charge at the very, very top, and it will trickle down, and it'll still be able to open a hole that you can toss a C4, or not a C4, a grenade through any sort of utility. You have those pocket EMPs that would be able to momentarily disable them. I felt there was a lot of underused utility. Xylix was a part of that problem, as you mentioned, with that ace and the Selma breaching charges. But even then, their side of the approach was relatively well executed, as Xylix was the last one alive inside of bathroom. Just a little bit more to be desired. I would have liked to see the OSA use the shield to go and prevent any sort of peeking from CC window, and that's why you need to make sure you control CC, because you want to be able to have that entire runway of windows looking into bedroom readily available. Snuffed going for the spawn peek, not going to result in anything, and just going to reveal the vigil to the entire lobby. This basement site's going to be relatively interesting. Xylix switching over towards the Ram.
Oh,
We've seen a lot more verticality. Ooh, Snuffed able to find one before they're traded back out by Tone. Gridlock, not a good operator to lose, but definitely not the worst, as you still have the Ying taking those can openers.
We talked a lot about how Xylix goes crazy, but Snuffed has been just as good in this series. Top frag last map. Very good performance first map of Oregon. Putting him ahead. And now again, stepping up 3-1. Xylix in a very dangerous spot. That nitro cell tossed over their head and makes the right decision to sprint at the enemy instead of trying to shoot it out and turn around or run elsewhere. Good decision making in the moment of desperation. Putting them down to 2 less players. And while Evergreen lost Lux immediately off the refrag from Snuffed immediately after, Xylix getting that 1 for 0 trade keeps them positive, and you've got the Twitch drones to clear out the mirror windows. The problem is you lose out your Ying, you lose the Candelas, and this floor breakage from your Ram of Xylix doesn't really do much for you here. Where's your hard breach to clear out the hatch? You have nothing anyways to work with kitchen.
Reloading, cover me.
There's not much to work with. You're going to be forced to funnel into a site that is extremely unwelcoming, and although you have the mirrors that were destroyed in a soft construction, which a little bit curious, but considering the hard breach situation was, if Putnam had decided to reinforce that, change the round even more, it creates a very interesting dynamic. 3v3 going into the final moments of this round, definitely favoring towards Putnam, and Nacho will definitely add to that as the remaining 2 players coming from construction. The Wamai still relatively unknowing to this approach, but it seems like the audio cue might have been there.
Tuck watching this dirt exit. Evergreen. All their eggs in one basket. In a very dangerous basket to try to rely on. That's exactly why the ACS-12, it's not missing at that distance. Everyone is stuck in a blender, and it's set to mince. Putnam will take themselves through to another round defensively. And that basement side is one of the 2 most hard to attack, most defensible objectives in R6. That in Oregon. And Putnam knew exactly how to play Oregon, and it doesn't seem like they're straying away from that mindset and that level of difficulty back into the defensive round of basement on Clubhouse. But now they have to pick up a tertiary site, and they opt to go for cash and CCTV, as you would expect. This is the most attacker-favored objective in this map, but still a defender-sided map, despite those oddities.
Attackers need to locate.
Yeah, bar and stage is not played for a reason. It's too difficult. There's no strategies really for it. There's not much you can really work with. But it's defender favorited if you're really darn good at that objective. And an even myopic scope of R6, it's defender favorited. But Evergreen are a very aggressive team, and we actually saw them face a lot of difficulties with CCTV on their attack against Colony just yesterday. A lot of that came from not clearing out top of red stairs and not having something like a smoke canister to close sight lines when they would extend out from that eastern subroof that is exiting in on the breach of the double wall in CCTV. Past that, though, they're really good at getting highway window. They took rafters nearly every single time, and they were able to get that wall breached.
There was no coverage towards rafters. It was oftentimes almost given to them.
Colony did leave it up for takes.
They actually have to deal with a lot of coverage towards that wall.
Zombie was also banned, though, right? If I remember correctly. So that was another thing.
Yep. Made it a lot more difficult to have any sort of coverage or protection playing in there. But the other thing is, if you look at the C4s that were like the explosive sort of impact, they weren't playing for that denial. You had later on in the game, Colony went and tried to deny from down below. Xylix quickly getting into position, taking out the top fragging counterpart. That's a huge kill. No more bandit tricking. But I think this is definitely the part that was unexpected. For
no pocketing piece. Where's Lux? You can get open the construction wall. I think they want to save it for an interior wall instead, though. And they're bringing out the OSA shield again. I highlighted that yesterday, Zayden. I remember mentioning that you bring an OSA, you place it up on construction window, and then you have full control of highway. You can peek inside of CCTV with absolutely no problems whatsoever. That's why Lux is here on that OSA. I do feel like there's just not enough hard breach potential still for this Evergreen side. But they also need to make sure they get Jacuzzi, which may be a reason why we see Lux rotate away and maybe EMP off Jacuzzi wall if that was mute jammered up for the Putnam side. You also had a Twitch drone, but Twitch is dead. So you really are super reliant right now purely on the pocket EMP for Lux. I don't know, Zayden, if I trust a single piece of utility like that as an end-all be-all.
Neither do I. Xylix captures their second onto Rez's. Will make their way towards garage rafters, furthering the man count. Blue and Nacho forced off of sight into construction. Nacho stuck top of red stairs. Sliver of HP, C4 still in hand. Here's it being cooked. Nitro getting ready. Sent out.
Boom.
It will not connect. Xylix with a triple kill. Nacho to confirm a kill onto Xylix, but it's not going to be enough as Lux will capture Evergreen's first round on a map that does not necessarily even have a tertiary bomb site.
Evergreen having fun. Lux complaining about their lack of aim for a little bit there. Xylix giving them the old ... treatment. And of course, the funny part of Low Dift saying one tapped. I'm honestly fairly shocked. You expect high schoolers to be very active in in-game chat, talking to each other.
Yeah.
They're honestly even less than collegiate. But I mean, yesterday we saw really good between Evergreen and Colony. Some nice shots. They were very impressed with some really good flicks coming out from Xylix. And some good players. They were well communicative. You love to see that from high schoolers. But what you also love to see is finally Evergreen putting their name on the scoreboard. Scoreline is 2-1, and that does still put Evergreen behind, and then Putnam are heading back over to their mainstay objective of Master Benjamin Gym. But let's digest what just went down on CCTV. Evergreen put a lot of pressure off towards Rafters, but it was mostly a battle between Exotic and Yorizami for the side of Putnam of Blue. Just trying to going tit for tat, fighting off against each other. A lot of pressure early from the Xylix first frag in from that construction window. Put a lot of pressure off towards Putnam, and then the extension players of Putnam that were more so towards Master Bedroom last round and didn't really have the ability to safely extend back towards CCTV and Cash. Puts Evergreen in a really good spot as long as they can close out those roamers, close out that extension, I should say, not really roaming necessarily, but close out those extenders. It's just a matter of winning those gunfights afterwards, and once you get that breach, like I mentioned, Evergreen were pretty good about the kills. And their struggle was Red Stairs, and they closed it out very well this time, taking down the final remaining player to secure an Evergreen victory. But now it's no longer CCTV and Cash as the end-all be-all. It's still just as important to breach. That's why Xylix has those breaching charges. Set it up, give yourself the option, put that phantom pressure on Putnam, even if you don't opt to use it. And maybe set up your team elsewhere. I would expect maybe a first floor entrance down through main, and then working up through staircase. At least one player needs to take that, because if you put everybody off towards Jacuzzi and Highway, and even in somebody on Logic, 'cause it looks like Exotic maybe wants to drop through Logic. They're gonna drop instead, just in general. But it looks like they want to take Logic. You can take main stairs and cut off the retreat out of Logic. Or hold Jacuzzi wall if you can get it breached open, but they're just bleeding. Hemorrhaging player count right now. There is no value found through this hatch for Evergreen.
Blue narrowly missing that one. Well, the minute 35, I'm a little bit puzzled by Evergreen's approach. There hasn't been a clear direction. You're hoping to get a quick impact frag, but that's not necessarily the case. Xylix now forced into a opening frag roll, still having 3 Selma breaching charges in their pocket, spraying around. They're good for their kill. You know that to be true. Tone is going to find their own. They're also on more of a hard restore to roll, looking for it. That's a double kill for Xylix as the numbers on Putnam slowly decreasing. With a minute to go, they have control of the eastern side of the map, and they can spray towards site. That's a double kill for Blue to even things back out, but they're down to a critical amount of HP. Any shot to any part of that body is going to be their end. They have to play for more of an unexpected angle, catch their opponent off guard, and tap them right in the noggin. With 45, swinging around, you can expect where you might find a player. It's a triple kill for Xylix! Springing the trap, finding those one-on-ones. Has to find Nacho inside the bathroom, swinging for the head, and they'll find a 4th kill to put Evergreen back at an even 2-2 round count.
Xylix even knew the pre-fire. Even if ammo in your mag, you just fire that corner. When there's only enough space for 2 operators to stand, that's when you begin to set your pre-fire. Hold down that click, pull the trigger on that rifle, and swing the same speed you were previously. That's an Evergreen now side, working into 2-2. That second floor for Putnam now feeling a lot less like a guaranteed round. And they'll make the adjustment saying, yeah, we could repeat the same objective twice. And you know my opinion on that. But I feel like that objective is just too... This map in general, you don't have a good third choice. You kind of have to play it at some point or another, but they'll head to basement. And they'll try things out on this site instead, where they had a really good defense against Evergreen, but I feel like a whole lot of that defense was coming off of the shortcomings of Evergreen, not having the ability to breach that hatch and kitchen effectively, and not having the ability to take the hatch in bar, to take Moto, to take church. That's your step-up plan for Evergreen, or at least it should have been. Failing that on all accounts makes it a very easy Putnam closure. I hope they take secret. I hope they take church. Evergreen need to make a different style. They've been good about playing 2 different styles every single time they see an objective. This has to be the exact same case.
5 seconds left. Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Interesting note for this round. Snap switching over to go on the vigil for the roam. Has had great success previously. One thing for Snuffed is the overextension and having to rotate back a little bit late. It's all about timing with this roam game and how exactly you're going to go and delay as long as possible. It's very easy to get caught off guard and pinched on this third floor. We'll see how exactly Snuffed tries to plan and contend with this. Dealing with the ace of Xylix, I believe that was, charging after them. You got to be very careful because Xylix also has the diffuser in case in hand. Low diff, first to fall. There goes your Ash. That's the person that should be closing out the roamer. No opening in Logi hatch. Tell Snuff they have more than enough time. Calm things down. Cool, collected. See if they can have a hatch that will assist them. Xylix dropping that diffuser and keeping a level head is going to be critical now.
Work through secret. Build up something from blue. It's the only way Evergreen can really give themselves the best shot, but they don't really have, I would argue, enough hard breaches securely squared away to deal with it. With Kai being banned, it's a whole lot easier for Evergreen, having the Selmas and the exothermic charges, but impacts and nitro cells make that kitchen hatch so much harder. You'll burn through every Selma, you'll burn through every exothermic charge if Putnam just play it smart. I think they just did. Impact goes out. Evergreen now forced to use yet another exothermic charge. Oh no, it failed. They didn't deny it. This is a full breach now for Evergreen. But Xylix is refusing to touch hatches. You still have 3 Selmas. They use one on the wall connecting towards blue from Arsenal. Hoping to create some level of sightline, but it won't keep Lux safe. Snuffed off with 1, 2 now, as it's 3 kills with the K1A in this round. And a 6 and 3 stat line puts Xylix up to question. Is there a new fragger leading the foray on Clubhouse? That may be the case. Xylix in a one-on-one with Amira inside secret. Leilu does not keep them alive. It's dusted for Xylix and Tun. Has to ace this round and can only get the 1 they were given. Evergreen Valley falls short, and Putnam City rise to the occasion to regain the lead, hanging in the final round of this first half.
At which point do you go and justify the Jackal for the Ash? It's clear that your soft breaching is there's an available option. You have soft hatches you can be destroying. The Jackal still has that secondary shotgun which can get all of those hatches. You don't necessarily need those breaching rounds. There's so many different options that could have been taken. And I think there is so much utility on the side of Evergreen that just went wasted and stalled out from the lack of pressure and the lack of a roam clear.
I'd argue more for the Zofia.
Zofia would be a great choice.
If you need an entry, which is obviously the role that Low Diff is trying to fill here. If you need an entry, Zofia is your girl. Lifeline utility for impacts. It gives you an LMG if you choose to want to bring that, since that's obviously something Xylix really likes. They fall over to the Finka choice now in this round to bring it out. It gives you lifeline utility for stuns, for concussive blasts. That would give you the isolated 1v1 in any angle with advantage. If you're heading down towards blue, you don't have to let Xylix as an ace do everything themselves. Why is Evergreen so adamant about never bringing the Zofia? That's what has me so darn befuddled. It's an outright refusal.
We haven't seen Zofia taken at any point in either one of these series, especially if you're taking the Finka, you can even warrant the LMG again. Craziness. Final round in the half. I want to see a little bit more explosive energy from Evergreen, and that's exactly what we're going to get. Low diff getting the entry onto blue. As their approach is well underway.
So, Low diff is in such a weird predicament now. They'll set up a flank watch cam. A secondary cam will be used for active information. They need a teammate on drone duty nearby to lead them as the entry into space. But first, they need to clear out the mute jammer. Now HSEL is tossed. It's ripped, but there is no one at the other end. It was snuffed down in lounge. That's why Low Diff set up that flank watch cam in the first place. The teammate can start watching that and try to give Evergreen the best edge possible to come out on top. Tuck will fall, though. Now you're in a 5 versus 3. Evergreen at a major advantage, but no ability yet to get into sight perfectly. Snuffed. Isolating Exotic gets cut off from a swing from Low Diff, and Low Diff is not done with a simple sprint. It's everyone for Low Diff. You wanted to see the explosivity. You wanted to see the speed. Zayden, Low Diff gave it. It gave Evergreen Valley the tied half they were asking for.
Tried to criticize the Ash. I tried.
They wanted to
Heard
see our
me
words.
beyond the casting booth, and
Check them earphones. How they hearing us?
yeah, that was wild. A complete response that I was definitely not expecting to get so ready and so prompt. That could easily swing the entire mentality of this matchup. As Evergreen could steal this away. That is the best split we've seen in the first half of this matchup, especially from an attacking half.
3-3.
It's been incredibly defender-sided. And Evergreen stealing that one away. Tip my cap. That's all I can say. I tip my cap to that one.
It's a very good round. And giving Low Diff the chance to step up to swing was also very important. Build confidence for a player that may be lacking. Someone that we knew was exceptionally good on Clubhouse yesterday against the Colony. Letting them step up. Follow behind Xylix a little bit. Now gives Xylix the chance to do so now on defense, which I would argue today for Evergreen, Xylix has been a better defender than he has been on the attack.
Well, it's place it and leave it utility. On offense, it's active utility.
Yeah. And
Makes
I've
all
said
the
it
difference.
multiple times today. Xylix is a strugglesome person when it comes to their utility usage on attack. It doesn't feel like they are comfortable with their role. I would argue they're probably a better entry choice for the side. Giving them Zofia just means that they can use the lifeline, you know, whenever they want. They can use the Finka boost whenever they want, I should say. I'm stuck on the idea Zofia. I meant to say Finka. Is what giving them the Finka gives them an LMG and gives them the Finka boost, the adrenal surge, which means they can heal themselves. They can be a whole lot smarter about how they play positionally, and they can be a little bit more selfish and act as an entry despite not being an entry. But now on the defense,
of
you
options
place it
there.
forget. It's so much more clean. It's so much easier for Xylix to not have to worry about this extra added step of utility.
Let's just go gun, go fun.
Place down, let my teammates shoot it. Xylix is never even there to shoot their own utility. That half the time it's because they're dead, because they extend out away from sight and then die. But the other half, it's because they don't need to be there.
Because they're over playing pool and collecting their kills. Tone also getting one of their own. That's a 5-3 advantage, especially on a site like Church and Arsenal. You want to make sure that you can go and hold that down. You don't even need to go and continue on this roam, as it's much more of a turtled bomb site where you can just sit down and hold it nice and comfortably. Xylix did not get that memo. They're going to keep the pressure at large on the outside of the map, and the other two players playing inside of blue. As Tone is going to have to contend as their phone is ringing, giving away every single bit of their position. Great use of the goo mines. But it does not change the fact that they are very much pinched. Getting some chip damage towards Tuck. Finds one, looking for the second, spraying out. Not able to find Snuffed. Xylix still playing up inside of the first floor toilets.
Oh,
Have to
he's
deal with
thinking about
Natural, who's
Nacho.
looking down. There it is. Finally getting snuffed
Okay,
out.
snuffed.
Gonna have to find the ace here. That part seems a little bit more unlikely if you ask me. And there it is. Battle of Super Shorties. Tone will win that one out. As Evergreen Valley takes the lead.
Give Mozzie the super shorty back, I beg of you.
Yes,
Still on this
I want to
point.
see more Mozzie.
Mozzie would actually be playable with a super shorty back. Mozzie has not been played in any active regard in a good 2 years now. Yeah. But, hey, we have the new recruit, Striker, for the attack. Gets the Commando and the ITA. Or not, is it the ITA or is it Super Shorty? It's one of the two. So, there is something there. And for me, as I am a Mozzie main with the Commando, not with the Roni, that is my new main. Because I'm going to get my Super Shorty back. And I'm going to have so much more fun. It's actually not Striker, it's their Sentinel. I think it's the Defender gets it.
Yeah.
The recruit
Either
Defender
way,
gets it.
the Commando's just the reload animation.
The
just
reload
makes all the
animation,
difference
but
too.
I think that if that reload animation stays on the recruit, it's a bad choice by Ubisoft.
No, you can't.
Because that's a Mozzie specific reload animation.
It's the way
Mozzie's
he reloads
flair.
it. Yeah,
that's Mozzie's flair. So they need to custom make its own reload. If they don't, they're lazy, and I don't appreciate that, Ubisoft. But
yeah,
is what it is.
Very
I do
valid.
love the Commando. A little bit
I like
higher
Mozzie.
range.
He's a fun operator.
Easier control.
10 seconds remaining.
I also get insane utility. I don't get it. They get such good utility on those recruits. They're gonna be pretty crazy. Maybe something that these players could start to think about. Their captains and coaches could start to think about to understand and try to evolve their level of play even further. Gotta worry about those fundamentals, you know. Speaking of fundamentals, you can go ahead and sign up for Gaming Concepts Fundamentals. If you're an educator, you can have your teaching toolkit with Gaming Concept Fundamentals, foster healthy gaming practices, impart basic technology know-how, and cultivate hands-on troubleshooting skills while equipping your students with a tech-focused perspective on college and career readiness. Power your students for success in the digital age. Check out gamingconcepts.gg for more information, as well as their digital life skills, interactive media, streaming, computer applications, tons of different programs to sign up for that can empower your students even further.
Blue knocking that down, but not outstate. Inside a garage. Snuffed is also going to go down. Zylex captures 2. The Pug will be able to find one of their own. But it doesn't change that this round is currently a 4 versus 2 until Blue can make it outside and get properly revived. Albeit with a limited amount of HP remaining. Minute 41 as this round has gone completely off the rails. Zylex doing a phenomenal job of holding down this CC room site. And we thought they were dangerous when they left the site. Imagine what happens when they're on it. And all these players need to come funneling towards them.
Zylex very aware of their positional value here. Just inside CCTV, their life is arguably the most important thing. Holding on to cash room is the defense of Evergreen here. Keeping them out of construction for as long as possible and trying to force them to de-evolve and de-escalate away from this side of the map. And it's a perfect execution. Into the blender, and out the other side, you come torn to pieces. Putnam City cannot keep up with Evergreen's defense so far in the second half. And heading into round 9, you're looking at Evergreen 2 rounds above Putnam. And when Putnam have been so good about coming back, when Evergreen have been so good about coming back from 4-2 splits at halftime, giving them that extra round they needed on Oregon to go from a 6-4 to win it out, giving Evergreen that tied 3-3 split could be disastrous. And we saw just how flawless the second half of Clubhouse was for Evergreen Valley yesterday. I fear for Putnam in this second half if their attack can't start to figure out what is necessary to get the job done.
Evergreen on the cusp of a perfect rotation between all 3 sites. The CC one proving to be a little bit more difficult. One thing I need to see from this Evergreen defense is the continued reliance on selective angles. We saw it last run from Zylex, being very selective, and you talked about that positional awareness that needs to be shared amongst all these players of the team and swinging together. It needs to be a joint task force, believe it or not, in a team, or in a game called Rainbow Six Siege. On the side of Putnam, I want to see more transferal between information and creation. Use that information to go and create these opportunities that you're using. but you can't allow it to go and take entirely away from your offense. And this is pretty interesting that you're going to go and allocate the mirror window on an exterior wall. I can't tell if we do have the holes for a C4 to be thrown for default. I haven't seen this in a long time. Has it been knifed yet? Yes. I assume it has.
It has to have been. Mirror got nerfed,
Why?
guys. You can no longer leave up mirror windows and have it be the end-all be-all for information. You can knife those now. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I guess it does set that up.
But you only have one set of impacts.
The whole team. I guess it's a nitro, so low diff could make the rotate. I think they're sitting top of stairs anyways, but that's they're gonna put the OSA shield. They're gonna hold the shield.
I don't know that oh.
Not gonna do it because they fall back. They're holding the shield to protect the thermite from planting it as they place. The impact wouldn't stop it. That's it. They have no entry here.
You need Nacho now.
Nacho has 0 Selmas. There's a pocket breach for Leilu, but they'd have to get there safely. It's not going to happen. This is Evergreen. This is one of the best defenses I've ever seen off of the wackiest strategy I've ever seen. There's no reason this should have worked.
I applaud it.
This is a genuinely impressive defensive showcase. Rez is with a Claymore, well placed. Down goes Exotic. I can only speak praises for this. It's a bit dumb. It's really putting a lot of stress on something. You could bait out the thermocharge and throw a couple of smoke canisters, a Capital Firebolt if you knew the strategy was coming to keep them out of red door. There's a lot of different ways to deny it, but you'd have to know it's coming, and Evergreen have not brought this out yesterday, and they're bringing it out for the first time today, which meant there's just no chance that Putnam knew.
It's interesting. Nacho able to find one to Xylex. Waiting for yet another kill, but Tone will level that one out as Evergreen steps on to match point and series point with a 3-round differential yet to drop a defensive round. Can the Putnam City Pirates bounce back and win 3 consecutive rounds to force overtime? Hate to say it, Scott, it's not looking very likely with the amount of force Evergreen has had in the second half.
I've been very impressed with Putnam. I'll be honest. They look absolutely amazing. Their map 1 comeback after allowing, Evergreen to come back, their map 1 resilience to stay in it was really impressive. Obviously, the second half left a lot for guessing, I guess you could say, for them on Cafe, but Clubhouse, they've shown really good glimpses. That first half was clean. 3 threes are pretty normal for Clubhouse at halftime. It's not that odd. But where we've seen really good from Putnam, I've just seen next level evolving from Evergreen. That last round, that strategy, that is a crazy cook up. If they win this and we get an interview, I need to talk specifically with them about that strategy. That is something you would never see at higher level play, because the moment a drone comes out and sees that that's there, the IGL, the leader, the processors, as I highlighted it yesterday, big shout out to Intel for sponsoring. I'll give a little bit more about them in a second. Their IGL should call that and tell the team the attacker read a pick needs to come through to deny space for that. Whether it's a Capital, which is a solid choice for it, whether you're just using nades to zone them back, whatever it is, you would have something to zone back the defenders so they can't toss those impacts. Even after the first one, you should kind of realize a nade could have gotten the job done. But you had no nades. You had 0 utility to counter that. It was just a really unfortunate spot for Putnam to be in. No amount of in-game leader would be able to fix that the attackers just didn't have the right operator selection for that counter. Great read by Evergreen. And their IGL obviously must be an Intel CPU. If they're packing up the whole PC, got the whole support unit, it must be powered by an Intel unit. Big shout out to Intel. The High School Esports League is brought to you by Intel, and thanks to their support, HSEL is able to offer high school students across the nation an unparalleled esports experience. From cutting-edge technology to thrilling competitions, Intel is fueling the future of high school esports. Discover how Intel sparks innovation and push the boundaries of possibility. Intel.com, and maybe discover something about yourself here during this break, Blue, as you're going to be here for quite a while. A minute into the round, and you're dusted. Thankfully, Snuff's got your back, and the refrag is there.
Still an incredible kill by Xylex to set their team up, and they got the 2.0 KD even after a bit of a slow start on these other series. The defensive end is proving to work wonders for this roster. 4-4, no more Jacob. You don't really need to deal with the roam game anymore, so this is best case scenario for the operator that you will lose. Next step here, you got to make sure that you pressure your opponent either directly into the site or into a very manageable angle. Force them into taking something that you can use your amplified scope to deal with. That is not it, as Lux and Low Dift will both capture their kills and provide a much needed man advantage with the final remaining 65 seconds.
Not looking good. Tuck tries to make a hero play through dirt. And now Nacho. Xylex is talking to him. Xylex is getting chatty. They're confident. Evergreen's confident. While the mirror window can't see anything, it doesn't take much to realize they're gonna swing that. With the audio cue Nacho gave, Low Diff swings it wildly. And they're not missing with enough shots sent out by that Vector. 7-3 for the final map. Oregon was so darn close. Cafe felt just as close. But Clubhouse, once that second half came to life for Evergreen, the Cougars bit and they did not let go of the throat for the Pirates. I guess they just weren't used to land creatures. They're used to sitting on the open seas, and they're going to have to hop on their boats and skedaddle back into it because they're done here on the map and they're done here for the series. Congratulations to the victors. It's going to be a Putnam roster that's got to drop down to the lower finals and win it out to get their rematch.
I have a lot of confidence in this Putnam roster. They did a great job, and it was those little micro adaptations, and albeit there was a little bit of weirdness, the wacky X variable that you were not able to account for, especially in that Clubhouse map. And I really do need to applaud the Cougars as they did a great job contending and fighting for their spot in the finals. And they get a nice cozy break where 24 hours from now, they will be playing in the finals against the winner of the loser bracket finals. A lot to come, especially as we switch over towards the loser bracket, but we still need to pick the brains of the winners, don't we, Scott?
I believe we have an interview after a quick break. But before then, stay tuned because we want everybody to see the victors celebrate and revel in their victory and help us digest what exactly was going on in their minds throughout that series. And really the one I'm curious about, that CCTV defensive round strategy. So before then, we'll take a break. Don't go anywhere. After this, an interview with a player on the side of Evergreen. We'll let it be a surprise as to who. Stay tuned. We'll get that going real soon. A hard fought first series of the day here, Banks. But at the end of it, you come away with a victory for Evergreen Valley. Though it looked like it wasn't going to go their way after map 1, they come back, do the dirty work necessary to come away with the victory. They are going into the grand finals guaranteed in their first year of the HSEL, in their first half year into the HSEL. Spring was their first season. It's unbelievably impressive. But we have an interview coming up with Exotic Boxfish here in the booth. Let's go ahead and welcome them on in. A big round of applause and a big level of excitement as you have the winner of today stepping into the booth. This is such a gorgeous view. You're so good looking, Exotic Boxfish. Pleasure to have you in here. I'll start off fairly simple for the interview. First off, what are your thoughts after having to go through all 3 maps and, being upset in an OT victory in map 1 and then just sweeping through the next 2 maps pretty cleanly?
Well, I feel like we didn't get upset. It was that map pick. They obviously scrimmed it well. We didn't. We do not play that map at all, but we still almost got close. So like, yeah. And next 2 maps kind of easy. Like I think we just own them. Like they kind of suck. And like, yeah, I was clean. Clean 2-1.
Wow. So if we're going to talk on the side of just owning your team, can you speak to controlling your assets and making sure that on the offensive side of things, how do you go and control your team to make sure that you're properly getting those entries and properly using your utility in every single round?
Yeah.
It's more of a complicated question of just how do you manage each player on your team and make sure that they are adequately completing their role?
Well, we don't really manage our team. I feel like our play style just like one guy just calls one thing and we follow him, or like another guy calls another thing that's better than we do that. So like I feel like everybody's like involved and like we all just like have a part in like controlling the offense.
Reactive.
Yeah. Like we're like really adaptive. Like.
Honestly, I like it. It cooks.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
in
good.
high school, it's gonna be good enough, right? I mean, it sets you up. It builds individuals, and honestly, Binks, I would say individuals are one of the most important things when it comes to R6. It's just a battle of which player is going to be the biggest individual on a team sometimes when they step into collegiate. But we talked about how your team composes themselves and progresses. We've talked about how you're feeling after a victory against a team. By your quotes, you think they suck. I think that they very much so will probably come back into the finals against you. So keep your eye out. They may not be so happy with that. I think they absolutely could have won that game. But I want to say the one thing that really surprised me, y'all's defense on CCTV on Clubhouse there with the mirror window placed on CCTV double wall. Who cooked up that strategy?
That was me.
Did you expect it to go as good as you had it there?
Yeah. Well, we play Clubhouse a lot, and like I just decided that instead of like having a bandit or a Cade, we would just like impact trick the wall. It'd be like easy for everybody. And then we already have a Goyo playing top red, so like any his impacts. So like, it's like really easy for him to just impact.
I mean, it works. We mentioned it on broadcast. The only 2 real counters to that. The one we mentioned was specifically Capito Firebolts, anything like that that can keep you out of red door. But I guess the other one's also going to be Highway Window. Anyone that can watch from Highway Window and toss like nades that direction as well could make it pretty difficult for you. But it's a little bit harder for that tight of an angle. That's a pretty darn good strategy. And if you're cooking that up yourself, I'm very impressed. That was a very impressive round. It took me a whole nother round to recover after seeing that strategy work out, because we were absolutely dogging you guys for about 10 seconds prior to that, saying mirror windows can be melee now, guys. This is mirror got nerfed. This isn't exactly the informational powerhouse you thought it was going to be. I totally did not expect the impact tricking. That was a very, very good strategy for you guys. But it also means that they only have 1 hard breacher actually attempting that wall, because they had multiple Selmas. Y'all just killed the ace right afterwards, and the Selmas didn't matter. They'd already dumped them on construction anyway, so it wasn't too big of a deal. But that's it for us. We have for the interview for you, Exotic Blackfish. It was absolutely wonderful having you here in the booth. Do you have anything you want to say? Shout out your team, your family, your school, anything you want to say before you guys head into the finals tomorrow?
I think they just need to like they need to watch out, and like I would like to shout out my teammates. except from Potone. That guy kind of blows.
That
Yeah,
works.
that's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Exotic. It was a pleasure having you here.
All right, thank you.
Zayden, an interview to mark down for all interviews. Confidence. I think that's what we're seeing right now from Evergreen Valley. And the Cougars, well, they may not be king of the jungle, but they're sure king of something. They're stepping in at their first season in the HSEL, taking the first place in spring, and now very much so heading into the finals. They're guaranteeing second place for nationals. That's unbelievably impressive for a team stepping in to a league, to a system so swiftly and finding that success so swiftly. I mean, you have 3 years of time in there for your competition in this game, right? 3 years of time to do your best, and you finally step up in spring in your third year to get the victory, fall, I guess I should say, for your third year to get a victory and get first place. You're doing it in your very first one, so it's very impressive. Huge congratulations to Evergreen Valley. But with that, they've guaranteed their tickets, Aiden, into the finals. Now we have to see which teams will be going off against them. We have a lower semifinal matchup coming up next. I believe it's the lower semifinal, and then we'll have the actual semifinal game coming in tomorrow, or actually the lower finals game going in tomorrow. So there was some technical difficulties. It is R6. It's a perfect esport. It is what it is. Getting these players in the lobbies. So we're going to get that game to decide who's facing off against the title of a team. And then we'll have that game going on off stream before we head into the finals, lower finals, and then finals tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Don't go anywhere. Another game, another series coming up after this. We'll see you guys when it's ready.
Ideas. I'm Brandon Bishop. I'm an educator. First and foremost, I'm a teacher. I teach social studies, history. As a kid, I grew up with like the console wars, so like PlayStation 2. We got one for Christmas, and that's kind of how I got into gaming. So yeah, I think the biggest skill that gaming can teach, especially with this at this level, is communication and cooperation. Watching the kids play and communicate, I learn a lot more, and so I can kind of see what things are working for them, what things don't. These kids are playing games on their own all the time, and they spend a lot of time on it. So I want them to harness that and turn it to something that can be used for like school pride. Like, look at these cool jerseys you can get. You win a game and you get on the morning announcements. They say your name and say you guys are winning, and the school gets to learn about your accomplishments. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you so much for inviting us down. I think we had some kids that were on the fence about being in the esports club, but getting them here, getting them to wear the school uniform, getting them to see what the company is like, I think that's going to spread. When they go back to school, they're going to talk to their friends. So this is a great opportunity. So you should definitely continue to do stuff like this. Invite schools down to see firsthand what the benefits can be.
Hello, educators. Welcome back. Are you ready to take your scholastic gaming to the next level? Because we are. We know you've been loving the Gaming Concepts curriculum, but don't worry. That amazing content isn't going away. Just moving. Starting this fall, we'll be transferring your Gaming Concepts learning experience to our brand new US-based platform, Blueprint. But what's Blueprint all about? Blueprint is a cut above the average learning software. It's packing some serious upgrades. The interface is user-friendly, so you won't have to spend ages figuring it out. The platform also has robust security measures to make sure that your important data stays safe. It's also the exclusive provider of the Gaming Concepts curriculum. Plus, we're making the migration process super smooth. Clear instructions and support will be right at your fingertips. But wait, there's more. Blueprint is a living platform. That means you'll get regular updates and fresh, new content to keep your esports curriculum at the cutting edge. We'll be making continuous improvements based on user feedback and emerging best practices to help educators stay ahead of the game. Blueprint will also house a library of free curriculum materials, which you can use to expand your own knowledge and share your passion for esports education with others. Blueprint is a game changer for educators, a platform focused on enhancing student engagement, motivation, and ultimately, academic success. This powerful platform is designed to make teaching easier, more collaborative, and way more exciting. So what are the next steps? Change can be scary, but don't worry, you're not flying solo. Generation Esports is going to be with you every step of the way to ensure a smooth transition. So keep an eye out for emails from the Generation Esports team, featuring upcoming training videos to get you familiar with the platform, and info on how to access Blueprint. Finally, be sure to share this video with your fellow Gaming Concepts educators, and get ready for an amazing fall semester, brought to you by Blueprint.
I imagine there are many more that I just don't know about because no one really, displays their passion for esports because, it's not really seen as cool in a sense.
My name is Trey Curtis.
My name is Jordan Langford.
My gamer tag is TapU.
My gamer tag is Swizz.
So what got me into gaming is the Wii, I think probably. My parents got me a Wii when I was really young. Played like Wii Sports, Super Mario.
Definitely my older brother, watching him play, hearing about other kids in my school playing games. So yeah, that's really how I got into gaming.
I don't really do any like extracurricular things. I take like AP classes and honors classes, but besides that, I don't really do anything extracurricular. So having like esports, like something I like to do a lot, I think it's just really cool, especially like being able to do it with friends and things like that.
I love the guys, we practice a lot together. It takes a lot of chemistry to make a team work. We haven't lost a game in the regular season yet, and the 3 tournaments we've played in so far. And I think that's just because of our, dedication, hard work, teamwork, working together, working things out when they don't exactly go how we plan them to. And I think that's a really good piece to our success is our chemistry.
I guess I wasn't really too talkative in school and stuff. Meeting like 2, they were juniors at the time, is like kind of cool as well because they added me to their group on Discord, and so like I kind of talked with a few people there. So I guess kind of brought me out of my own friend group a bit and like just talk to other people.
So I know a lot of people that, love the game at my school. I play with a lot of them, but I imagine there are many more that I just don't know about because no one really, displays their passion for esports because, it's not really seen as cool in a sense. And I really think that can be put away, that stereotype.
Welcome to HSEL Nationals 2024, presented by Oakley. HSEL Nationals is coming to Midwest Fest June 7 through 9, and you can grab tickets right now. Here's just a sample of what you can expect by attending. 1, the best high school esports student athletes in the nation battling it out over 3 days to see who becomes the undisputed national champion. 2, an Apex Legends tournament featuring the best schools from HSEL and anyone brave enough to stand against them. 3, Supernova Retro Arcade. 4, dance your heart out and feel the rhythm because Casey Bemini is bringing your favorite rhythm games here to Midwest Fest. And last but not least, giveaways. Just by attending Midwest Fest, you'll be entered into one of HCL National's numerous giveaways. And you can increase your entries by completing various objectives around the festival. All of these things and so much more are what you can expect by attending HCL Nationals at Midwest Fest. It all goes down June 7th through the 9th, live in Kansas City. Join us and see for yourself who will lift the trident.
I love it. I know a lot of people from other schools that I talk to, they envy us in a sense because they wish they had an opportunity to be able to be with your friends and compete. Even talk to my parents, they're like, wow, I wish we had that when we were younger. So it's a cool opportunity for sure.
I would have probably never became friends with these people if I didn't join it. They're really cool. They're actually fun to hang out with.
We got the hang of it pretty quick, and yeah, Generation Esports is a pretty decent website, I will say. The queuing is easy, you can figure out what time you want to play, and it's all around just super fun talking with other people from other schools.
Hello there, gamers and mental health enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into a groundbreaking study that explores the intersection of scholarly gaming and mental health education, and how it can impact the self-esteem of adolescents. Picture this, a world where scholarly gaming isn't just about mastering technology-based career skills or dominating the world of video game business. No, it's a world where gaming becomes a gateway to improving mental health. 3 visionary educators and a school-based health intervention expert came together to create a curriculum that aligns with academic guidelines from the International Society for Technology Education. This curriculum spans 40 lessons, delivered over 14 weeks with a minimum of 120 minutes per week. But here's the twist. 83 schools were invited to participate, but they were divided into 2 groups, those with mental health moments and those without. The non-mental health moment group got the scholarly gaming curriculum alone, while the mental health moment group got an extra layer of education. Mental health moments were embedded into 27 lessons, integrating concepts from the PERMA framework and the Collaborative Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning Standards, otherwise known as CASEL. Now, let's meet our players. 471 participants from both groups, with almost 75% in high school, many experiencing scholarly gaming for the first time. A majority were male, and the racial diversity was broad. At the start, the average self-esteem score was 17.9, with 22.1% reporting low self-esteem. But hold on, the game's just beginning. As the study progressed, it revealed some fascinating results. While 57.7% of participants with low self-esteem at the beginning reported average self-esteem post-intervention, the Mental Health Moments group stole the spotlight. Self-esteem scores improved by 8.3% in the Mental Health Moments group, compared to no change in the non-Mental Health Moments group. How's that for a power-up? Some students even shifted from abnormally low self-esteem scores to normal ranges. The message is loud and clear. Educators, healthcare providers, and adolescent advocates pay attention. Non-traditional educational instructions, like scholarly gaming, combined with mental health moments, can significantly improve students' well-being. And there you have it, a journey through the power of scholarly gaming and mental health moments. Remember, your self-esteem matters, and sometimes, all it takes is a little extra support to level up. Thanks for joining us on this adventure. Until next time, keep gaming, keep learning, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. They say the right tools can get any job done. We agree. Introducing Blueprint, the platform for educators built by educators. Blueprint is user-friendly, featuring drag-and-drop scheduling tools and a robust gradebook. Designed for the scholastic world, Blueprint empowers educators to create powerful course content. Plus, Blueprint is the exclusive provider of the popular Gaming Concepts curriculum. Learn more about how to gain access to Blueprint today.
All of these different types of kids can come together and they work together, and it's just so fun to see them winning together. So my name is Lori Burney. I'm with Geyer High School and from Denton, Texas, so part of Denton ISD. There is a future in it. You can go to school and get a scholarship with it. You can go into so many different areas and aspects of esports, leads to game design, computer science fields, and I just think that it's pretty limitless, what they could do. And it's our job as the adults and the educators to kind of, help guide them through, these different avenues that they want to go through and explore. Now our district has passed a bond where they're actually going to put $500,000 towards building esport labs in all of our 5 zones. So we're really excited about that and how they're going to build it out. And that may never have happened had this group not have persisted and kept at it to continue to play and put Geyer, Texas or Denton, Texas on the map. Me coming from the outside, not ever playing Rocket League, but taking the time to sit back and learn and absorb as much as I could, it wasn't hard for me to see all of the different aspects that transcend, just beyond, esports in general. It goes across every plane.
People love Generation Esports. As the world of esports continues to grow, whether you're a teacher, student, or coach, Generation Esports is here to deliver solutions for any of your gaming-based interests. Our services work together, from competitive opportunities with scholarships to our innovative Gaming Concepts curriculum. We aim to give schools a premium experience inside and outside of the classroom. But don't take our word for it. Hear it from our community.
All of these different types of kids can come together and they work together, and it's just so fun to see them winning together.
A lot of our students are looking for different things to get involved in, and what better way to get involved in something like esports.
We've had the privilege of getting to implement gaming concepts into the curriculum just this past semester. There's the competitive side of things, there's the content creation, there's the hardware, there's the business side of things that's on there. There's something for everyone.
Esports is definitely the period to look forward to every day.
Esports has really changed it, where students are now able to, who might have just got home and not had something to do, now they can stay after school, they can be engaged in something that makes them motivated to come to school.
I've been teaching the Gaming Concepts class here at Lyons High School this semester. The kids have responded really well to the curriculum. HSEL has provided invaluable opportunities for our students. They can compete in national esports leagues and tournaments, learn about esports careers and opportunities, and it's helped our club expand and grow. Esports is sometimes the one thing that keeps students engaged in school that would otherwise skip school or not do homework. Esports is still a new frontier, but you don't have to venture out alone. The Generation Esports team is here to deliver the perfect blend of education and competition. Schedule a call today to find out how we can bring the power of gaming to your classroom.
I learn a lot from the kids. I kind of let them run things. I let them set their own captains and set their own practice schedules, and I will check in periodically to see how they're doing to offer guidance and ideas. I'm Brandon Bishop. I'm an educator. First and foremost, I'm a teacher. I teach social studies, history. As a kid, I grew up with like the console wars, so like PlayStation 2, we got one for Christmas, and that's kind of how I got into gaming. So yeah, I think the biggest skill that gaming can teach, especially with this at this level, is communication and cooperation. Watching the kids play and communicate, I learn a lot more, and so I can kind of see what things are working for them, what things don't. These kids are playing games on their own all the time, and they spend a lot of time on it. So I want them to harness that and turn it to something that can be used for like school pride. Like, look at these cool jerseys you can get. You win a game and you get on the morning announcements. They say your name and say you guys are winning, and the school gets to learn about your accomplishments. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you so much for inviting us down. I think we had some kids that were on the fence about being in the esports club, but getting them here, getting them to wear the school uniform, getting them to see what the company is like, I think that's going to spread. When they go back to school, they're going to talk to their friends. So this is a great opportunity. So you should definitely continue to do stuff like this. Invite schools down to see firsthand what the benefits can be.
Hello, educators. Welcome back. Are you ready to take your scholastic gaming to the next level? Because we are. We know you've been loving the Gaming Concepts curriculum, but don't worry, that amazing content isn't going away, just moving. Starting this fall, we'll be transferring your Gaming Concepts learning experience to our brand new US-based platform, Blueprint. But what's Blueprint all about? Blueprint is a cut above the average learning software. It's packing some serious upgrades. The interface is user-friendly, so you won't have to spend ages figuring it out. The platform also has robust security measures to make sure that your important data stays safe. It's also the exclusive provider of the Gaming Concepts curriculum. Plus, we're making the migration process super smooth. Clear instructions and support will be right at your fingertips. But wait, there's more. Blueprint is a living platform. That means you'll get regular updates and fresh, new content to keep your esports curriculum at the cutting edge. We'll be making continuous improvements based on user feedback and emerging best practices to help educators stay ahead of the game. Blueprint will also house a library of free curriculum materials, which you can use to expand your own knowledge and share your passion for esports education with others. Blueprint is a game changer for educators, a platform focused on enhancing student engagement, motivation, and ultimately, academic success. This powerful platform is designed to make teaching easier, more collaborative, and way more exciting. So what are the next steps? Change can be scary, but don't worry, you're not flying solo. Generation Esports is going to be with you every step of the way to ensure a smooth transition. So keep an eye out for emails from the Generation Esports team, featuring upcoming training videos to get you familiar with the platform, and info on how to access Blueprint. Finally, be sure to share this video with your fellow Gaming Concepts educators, and get ready for an amazing fall semester, brought to you by Blueprint.
I imagine there are many more that I just don't know about because no one really, displays their passion for esports because, it's not really seen as cool in a sense.
My name is Trey Curtis.
My name is Jordan Langford.
My gamer tag is Tapu.
My gamer tag is Swizz.
But what got me into gaming is the Wii, I think probably. My parents got me a Wii when I was really young. Played like Wii Sports, Super Mario.
Definitely my older brother, watching him play. Hearing about other kids in my school playing games, so yeah, that's really how I got into gaming.
I don't really do any like extracurricular things. I take like AP classes and honors classes, but besides that, I don't really do anything extracurricular. So having like esports, like something I like to do a lot, I think it's just really cool, especially like being able to do it with friends and things like that.
I love the guys, we practice a lot together, it takes a lot of chemistry to make a team work. We haven't lost a game in the regular season yet, and the 3 tournaments we've played in so far, and I think that's just because of our dedication, hard work, teamwork, working together, working things out when they don't exactly go how we plan them to, and I think that's a really good piece to our success is our chemistry.
I guess I wasn't really too talkative in school and stuff. Meeting like 2 they were juniors at the time is like kind of cool as well because they added me to their group on Discord, and so like I kind of talked with a few people there, so I guess kind of brought me out of my own friend group a bit and like just talk to other people.
I know a lot of people that, love the game at my school. I mean, I play with a lot of them, but I imagine there are many more that I just don't know about because no one really, displays their passion for esports because, it's not really seen as cool in a sense. And I really think that can be put away, that stereotype.
Welcome to HSEL Nationals 2024, presented by Oakley. HSEL Nationals is coming to Midwest Fest June 7 through 9, and you can grab tickets right now. Here's just a sample of what you can expect by attending. 1, the best high school esports student athletes in the nation battling it out over 3 days to see who becomes the undisputed national champion. 2, an Apex Legends tournament featuring the best schools from HSEL and anyone brave enough to stand against them. 3, Supernova Retro Arcade. 4, dance your heart out and feel the rhythm because Casey Bemini is bringing your favorite rhythm games here to Midwest Fest. And last but not least, giveaways. Just by attending Midwest Fest, you'll be entered into one of HCL National's numerous giveaways. And you can increase your entries by completing various objectives around the festival. All of these things and so much more are what you can expect by attending HCL Nationals at Midwest Fest. It all goes down June 7th through the 9th, live in Kansas City. Join us and see for yourself who will lift the trident.
I love it. Like, I know a lot of people from other schools that I talk to, they envy us in a sense because they wish they had an opportunity to be able to be with your friends and compete. Even talking to my parents, they're like, wow, I wish we had that when we were younger. So it's a cool opportunity for sure.
I would have probably never became friends with these people if I didn't join it. They're really cool. They're actually fun to hang out with.
We got the hang of it pretty quick, and yeah, Generation Esports is a pretty decent website, I will say. The queuing is easy, you can figure out what time you want to play, and it's all around just super fun talking with other people from other schools.
Hello there, gamers and mental health enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into a groundbreaking study that explores the intersection of scholarly gaming and mental health education, and how it can impact the self-esteem of adolescents. Picture this, a world where scholarly gaming isn't just about mastering technology-based career skills or dominating the world of video game business. No, it's a world where gaming becomes a gateway to improving mental health. 3 visionary educators and a school-based health intervention expert came together to create a curriculum that aligns with academic guidelines from the International Society for Technology Education. This curriculum spans
I mean, how many times we've mentioned it here at this point, Zayden, but Ubisoft R6, it's the perfect esport. It is what it is. A lot of connection problems, it seems like, connecting to, creating, and joining lobbies and custom games, which unfortunately will now plague us and every player from here to basically everywhere this side of NA. Unfortunately, it means our second game of the day will have to unfortunately no longer occur, as we couldn't even get one of the lower semi matches to conclude, which means we would have to have streamed the wrong game anyways, and then it would have created a whole lot of problems. But because of that, there will no longer be more broadcasts today. We're going to have those substituted in tomorrow before the matches so we can get that lower finals and then the grand finals coming in. But we'll recap what happened today so far, Zayden. It was a 3-game series requiring all 3 games for Putnam City versus Evergreen Valley. Putnam taking that first one and an OT victory, full comeback required in OT to get there. And then you had Evergreen Valley 7-4, 7-3 on Cafe. And of course, closing it out on Clubhouse with the confidence of a team that's ready to be crowned the Nationals HSEL final victors. Come tomorrow as they punch their ticket to them. Will the Colony make it there? Will Palmdale High School make it there? Or will this tide here at Putnam City close out their semifinal or loser's final game tomorrow to get that revenge grudge match against Evergreen Valley? Time will have to tell.
I'm really looking forward to it. And the match that we do have coming up is going to be Palmdale taking on the Colony, Scott. And the Colony is a squad that I'm really looking and hoping to see a little bit more of, as they're coming into this as the number 6 seed, while Palmdale is actually the number 8 seed. And it's pretty cool because the Fall Major 23 was Palmdale's first season. Meanwhile, the Colony has been here for a year and a half now. So we got a good range of experience going into this matchup. And whoever does manage to pull ahead, I want to see a little bit more from them. And just talking a little bit of the players we had today, whether it be the Pirates or the Cougars, both of those teams were very, very strong. Those strat books looked like they weren't even going into the depths of it. Maybe with the little bit of the setups we were getting out onto that CC wall, as that was a very interesting one with the mirror trick. I'm interested to see if we're going to have a little bit more of that. And even with what we have going off stream, the inspiration you can take from each and every single one of those matches.
Yeah, we got to see some evolution. We got to see some ability to digest in the middle of rounds, to change up your strategies and to evolve beyond a basic level of play. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be a really good set of games, and whoever makes it to that losers final alongside Putnam City, whether it be the Colony or Palmdale High School, I expect it to be a really great game. But we'll throw up the bracket, see what has happened to get to this point, how it has evolved, devolved, what teams have made it, what teams have failed to make it, whatever it may be. It's been a pretty big set of series of games, and the HSEL Nationals has been a very entertaining show match for sure. Obviously, yesterday we got to see the Colony take a loss, unfortunately, as it may be, against Evergreen Valley. So if they take the win against Palmdale High School and they take the win against Putnam City, that would put them actually for a grudge match against Evergreen Valley. And if they take the win anyways, it would be a grudge match no matter what in the finals, with either Putnam City needing to avenge their loss against Evergreen Valley today, or the Colony facing off against and avenging their loss from yesterday. I think having that be the set of matches for the final would be very spectacular. But with that being said, that's all we have here today. Tomorrow, the lower finals will step up at 12 p.m. CT. That is the expected time. It may be delayed by about an hour in case the players for Palmdale High and the Colony need to delay their game from today to tomorrow, or it'll be just on time, as we may hope that'll be at the end of the day. If that's the case, 3 p.m. CT or 4 p.m. CT for the grand finals, where you'll see Evergreen Valley once again face off for it. This has been HSEL Nationals, with a big shout out once again to our sponsors. It could not be done without them. Whether you want to talk about having your program escalate to the next level with Valor, we're going to talk about Intel and their great support, or Oakley and their wonderful glasses and shades. It could not happen without them, whether it's the HSCL Nationals or MSCL to support. Big shout out to the sponsors. And with that, big shout out to the viewers. We'll see you guys tomorrow with more action here from HSCL Nationals.